All right, dude, I'm excited about tonight. This is gonna be a good one. I know I say that every week. I I gotta change up my stuff. Well, guys, welcome to episode 145 of the Drag Driver Pete Show, presented by Summit Racing. This episode's packed. Eric has made a ton of notes for drag and drive stuff, updates, event updates, racer updates, car updates, and then we have two amazing guests. We have Joanna Reid on here. She's going to be talking about drag and drive. We're talking about job stuff, which I think is going to be kind of fun. And she told Harris on the Monoxide podcast that I was listening to for research that she wants to be the Chip and Joanna Gaines of the car world. How cool is that?
Yeah.
We're going to find out what that means. And then as we shift into high gear, I guess, as we move into the back half of the show, some references here to drag racing. Kevin Smith of KSR Performance is going to be on. Dude, I don't. We got so much stuff to talk about with him. Like it's going to be awesome. So, Mr. Eric White, will you hit the intro when we get this thing started?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to hit the ground running again. Welcome to episode 145. 145. Are you hearing me? 145 of the Drag Driver Pete Show, presented by Summit Racing. My name is Mike Narks. I am the host of this show and the news that happens on Saturday mornings. And then my right hand man here, Mr. Eric White. Tell him what you got going on.
I am Eric White, co-host of the show and news. And 45 minutes ago, I was trying to fix a water leak in my basement.
So you're not only are you a artwork extraordinaire in drag and drive world, you're also a novice plumber.
Anything that breaks as a homeowner, you guys know anything can happen at any time, and seems like it always happens at the wrong time.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't mind breaking something because if I'm going to pay somebody to fix it, they can fix my broken part. You know what I'm
Fair
saying?
enough.
Yeah. So, anyways, well, hopefully you don't have to hire a plumber because that takes away from race car money, and race car money takes you away from our race car friends. We can't do that. We got to have you out there doing all that fun stuff. So, guys, I want to say thanks again. Appreciate all the stuff this week, man. It's been a crazy week. We've grown with new followers. So, welcome to all of them, and to the OGs. Thank you. You guys are awesome. We appreciate y'all, and all the stuff you do for us is much needed and appreciated. And then also thank you to our sponsors, man. Without them, we can't do this. So I'm just going to list these off. And if you're doing some shopping, please go by, see if you can hit them up, see if they got what you need. You know what I mean? I know Summit Racing is probably going to have what you need, and we have a few discount codes left. So just a few though. So holler at us if you need one of those. You're going to order some stuff, in the next couple of days as you're gearing up for one of the craziest drag and drive seasons that we've ever seen. Works, of course, the official fuel delivery of Drag Driver Pete, right here, fuel pumps and modules and all that kind of cool stuff. Molly Motorsports, who put out one of the funniest April Fool's deals I've seen. It was awesome. We're going to talk about it in a few minutes. Driven Racing Oil, of course, our boys over there and girl over there taking care of all the things that go round in your motor. Oils and super cool hats and all that kind of stuff. And talked to Mike Neal the other day, and he said they've actually got some new hats that are dropping. So I said, there's two heads right here that need a new driven hat. Howard's Cams, Luke B, and the team over there, of course, Valve Train stuff. J-Wire Solutions, who was on a couple weeks ago, got to talk about new facility and all kinds of cool stuff. Can wire and plumb your hot rod. AFCO Racing Products, the best shocks on the market, but they also do a ton of like cooling and brakes and all that stuff. Performer built transmissions, best GM transmission builder on the planet. Put a 4L60 in the 7s with plans to go faster. Car Change 3D, who has been just on a rampage about drag and drive stuff, bro. From like cup holders to shifter mounts to new dash bezels, all kinds of cool stuff over there. And of course, Low Dollar Motorsports, any sensor that you need from to make your car go faster or drive better, they've got it for sure. And of course, PowerTube TV and Racing Junk Classifieds. All right, sir. Well, let's let Mr. Brian Loans talk about the title sponsor of our show here. He'll tell us a little bit about what they got going on.
What does it mean to be built with Summit? It means you're hitting the autocross, drag strip, road course, trail, dirt, or open road with confidence. Because built with Summit means you're using parts from the top names in performance, priced to make your project affordable. And it's all backed by trusted tech expertise and blazing fast shipping. Summit Racing Equipment. Let's build it together. SummitRacing.com.
Hi, Andrew Motorsports here. Did you see the Pack Racing Spring email this morning? I didn't see that one.
I didn't. That would be a good one. Right now, Summit does have a code that's being ran, code project, which is perfect for this time of year because everybody is hopefully either dragging those parts, those boxes that have been piling up all winter and ordering parts, air quiet. And it's time to start getting all that stuff back together. Well, you got $20 off 250, $40 off 500, and $80 off 1,000. You guys can use project or code project when you go to check out. Again, we do have a few more codes left that are just a smidge better than what's on here. So if you would like a little more off, holler at us. We only have a few. I think I've got 4 or 5 left. So we'll do what we can as we lead into the circuit. We'll get a few more because for those last minute orders and all that stuff. And then did you see this? They pulled up so it's kind of funny. 50 years sounds like a long time, but also at the same time sounds very short.
Yes.
I feel like 1976, there's still some of this stuff that's around now. 100 years, that's probably a better number. But I thought this was pretty cool. So they posted up, apparently 1976 they buried a time capsule. Now it's out. But look at these old catalogs, dude. I mean, think about
cool.
Yeah, think about Summit in 1976. This company's only 56 years old. This is 6. This company's 6 years old and has cool catalogs like this. So pretty cool. Robert Voss saying he has some discount codes left as well. And then one thing we don't do enough of anymore is put to audio the drag race sounds or just sounds. Can you imagine you're just at a party, you're jamming to some Steve Miller Band, and then somebody's like, bro, I picked up the new album this week. Just wait, let me throw it on. It's big sounds of the drag race.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, what are you talking about, man? Just gonna play that over the big, the 2 foot tall, 3 foot tall speakers that are in the corner of the room. Man, Danny Fack is showing some age there, buddy. Says I've got Summit Racing receipts from 1979, probably handwritten in there. Oh, Dan Chandler said used the link and got his order today. And he said, I have all those 8 tracks. That's too funny. I thought this was kind of a cool story here. Don't know if it's a joke or not, but thought it was pretty neat to, have even given that some thought. So pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, of course, we are Summit affiliates. So if you guys would like to help us in some way, you can the top post on our Facebook page, every Summit Racing link on our website, dragdriverpete.com, takes you right to summitracing.com through our affiliate link, which just basically shows them, hey, these guys are trying to help grow your business over here. So, please keep supporting them. And then also, if parts qualify, it does provide us with an affiliate. I hate to call it a kickback, but I mean, it's anywhere from 1% to 5%. So it could be something that would help us get to these next events and all that kind of cool stuff. So thought that was pretty fun. And, obviously we know one part that qualifies them Drag Driver Pete Summit branded t-shirts and hoodies and hats, like our boy Nico Christoferi is wearing right here in this photo.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Who should have his car out soon. Have you seen all those updates, man? It's been awesome.
Yeah. And shout out to Richard. Got a new vehicle I saw today too.
Listen, I can't say this enough. I'm so excited for that dude. He works very, very, very hard. And a lot of times it goes unnoticed, to be honest. And him picking up this new car, and you got to see Scotty Palmer. I mean, come on, Mr. PBR Racing himself. Got to drive down and hang out with him for a little bit and do some filming, and just, I mean, he bought it from him, and then the truck also was owned by Boosted GT before that. So kind of cool, history to a Tahoe that will be perfect for him for getting out and about to events, for coverage. Dude's an amazing drone pilot, is a great editor, puts out some stellar reels, and he'll be at the circuit with us. So it's going to be kind of fun hanging out with him.
For sure.
Yep. All right. Well, let's talk about some drag driver Pete updates. Mother Road Mayhem being just 18 days from now. There's nothing like waiting until the last second, right? Travis Wise loves me for this. I messaged him the other day. I'm like, hey, we need trophies for Mother Road Mayhem. He's like, bro, I got you. And has some cool stuff in the works. And so finally got the last bit of logo today. And so we should have those in, obviously 6 classes. Everybody, the winners are going to get a trophy. We also have decals for everybody when they show up and all that kind of cool stuff. So going to be kind of fun. And then one last part, this is kind of, I mean, that's not like drag driver Pete related, but it's kind of fun stuff. So you guys know, I do run the social for Tulsa Raceway Park, and we were back and forth 2 days ago or yesterday about what we could do that would be a fun prank. Everybody goes to like next level with April Fool's stuff. I wanted to do something fun, dude. This right here, if I had not put June 31st on there, they would have fallen for it. There were people in there like, wait, what? Arguing and all that kind of cool stuff. So it was kind of fun. We had a good time, but also in the middle of that, I took it one step further because I also do a lot with Keith Haney Racing social. So I kind of combined the two and said that Keith was going to be racing here with one of his old Pro Mod motors. And so like this whole thing, and like people were doing all day. So it was kind of fun. But you got to have fun on April Fool's Day, right?
Oh, for sure. And there was a bunch of pretty good ones today.
Oh yeah. So we talked about Molly a few minutes ago. It's in here, I think. Deechworks, of course, this is subscription-based injectors, bro. Genius. Yeah. This
own the flow, not the injector.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought this was pretty funny. Blythe Life Racing over there saying they went full EV. I mean, we know that would never happen, but great artwork there. I feel like they put in a lot of work on that, and can be appreciated for sure. Ryan Hargett says he's pulling the coyote out. He's going LS.
No, that's real. That's real there.
Finally, he's light. Eddyville Raceway says they're building a stadium style cover for the drag strip. This is something I wish would really happen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how cool would that be? Obviously, there's got to be ventilation, but like if somebody could make something like that happen, that would be legit.
Yeah, it would be very, very cool. Albuquerque Raceway said they're changing from standard time, or like mile per hour to kilometers per hour, because 160 kilometers an hour sounds way faster than 100 miles an hour. I thought that was really good. And then Sean, the What No Way guy, of course, he did Sick Week here a couple weeks ago, and he said he's no longer cussing on the channel. Just kidding. It's April Fool's. So I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, tons of good ones.
Yeah, I guess I didn't put the Molly one in there. It was a self-clearancing piston. That was pretty genius, man. I really enjoyed that. There was a lot of good ones today. I'm sure everybody saw them. Like I said, the Andreens were talking just a second ago about the Pack Springs. I wish I had seen that one. So a lot of good stuff, man. Everybody's having a good time.
Yeah, you and I were sending quite a few back and forth this morning.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, let's talk about some circuit stuff. This is kind of cool. Obviously, the circuit in what's in your notes here? 29 days?
Something like that, yeah.
Dude, 29 days is way too soon. I'll tell you that much. Because I felt like we were really doing good about 10 days ago. Now I'm like, man, all the little stuff I'm scared now. But anyways, road trip package, the circuit package, of course, we're sold out, but we did have someone fall off this week. There is a spot that will be opening up, and I'll be reaching out to the first few on the wait list to see, or on the road trip list, to see if they want to upgrade to the racer spot and go from there. Martin Kilroy says he's putting the LS in the Roadster. Get out of here, dude. That's funny. But one thing that did happen, I think yesterday or Monday, Steve Crane from Wire Care we had reached out to him earlier in the week or over the weekend and was like, hey, man, do you think you could possibly send over one of those, custom tailored, built by Alex and Dennis Taylor wire care kits for the drag and drive community? And he said, you know what? I got you. So he's sending over a pro kit. Really appreciate him doing that. And he said, but I got to ask one question. Can you give it away on Friday? That way, if somebody has to use it, they have it in their possession. And we said, that's genius. So Friday at noon, we're going to go ahead. We're going to do the drawing from then. So tickets, this will be a raffle ticket item. Again, all raffle ticket sales go directly to the Youth Services of Tulsa during the circuit event. And so on Friday afternoon, we are going to draw at noon for this Taylor kit. So we will be selling raffle tickets Thursday night at the Racer pre-party. And then, of course, Friday morning as we start racing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome of them to do that for us.
Yeah, appreciate that a whole bunch for them. And then I just wanted to give a shout out. I wanted to go through our sponsors. I'm not going to go through each one and name them all. We're going to kind of flip through some of these. But without these sponsors, we can't have payouts. We can't do class payouts. So I want to give a big shout out to the to the sponsors here. You can see on the screen. Please take a screenshot of your class that you're doing. We've got a couple specialty sponsors, and hey, we're always looking for. We've got our classes sponsors wrapped up, but we are looking for fun stuff. Like you saw the Biggest Wheelie sponsor there. We're looking for stuff like that. So big shout out to AT Industries for their sponsorship of 3 classes. Man, that's pretty cool. And we appreciate them a whole bunch. And of course, all the others here, I just want to run back through these real fast. This one's a fun one. Johnny Allen Media and 4-Eyed Performance out here doing the Biggest Wheelie trophy. That's pretty cool. Our Biggest Wheelie sponsorship and all the others here. So again, thanks to everybody that is involved with this. The Loves Camp Counselor deal. This is going to be something that's really fun. This is providing showers, which many folks need. Of course, the award ceremony, the Racer Party sponsor, and then title sponsors there as well. So thanks to all the sponsors that are involved with the Circuit 2026, largest event we've ever hosted. Should be a ton of fun, and just 29 days from now.
Yes, sir. Which, speaking of, let's play this Driven ad, and then we'll talk about all of our event updates.
Hey, it's Brandon from Fort Smith, Arkansas here. Driven Racing Oil is a performance engine oil that can do it all. GP1 is the ultimate oil for any race or performance application. Whether launching hard at the drag strip, enduring the extreme heat of off-road and circle track, or pushing the limits in top-fueled drag boats and demo derbies, winning racers choose GP1. Compatible with engines from classic hot rods to cutting-edge race machines, GP1's unique surface cleaning and high zinc formulation ensures superior wear protection, particularly for flat tappet camshafts, while solving issues like cylinder washout with methanol and ethanol fuels. Crafted from the legendary Bradford, Pennsylvania base oil and enhanced with state-of-the-art additive packages, GP1 offers the best in protection and performance.
Oh yeah, code DDR10, 10% discount on anything on the Driven Racing Oil website. All right, so first up, covering the April registration starting tomorrow, the Weekend Warrior Race and Relax registration will open up. This event is happening October 2nd through 4th, Western Colorado Dragway, and then a drive day, and then back to the Western Colorado Dragway. So again, that one opens up tomorrow. And then 10 days from today, Drop the Hammer Judgment Day on April 11th. Registration will open up for that. That event is July 25th. And again, Judgment Day will kick off in the morning with tech and registration at the Alma Tire Service. And then participants will travel to Mid-Michigan Motorplex for a day of racing. And then after racing is done, back to the Alma Tire Service. And that's going to be roughly 110 miles of driving through the day. So this single day event is going to be pretty cool, similar to what we're doing with our single day events.
Yep. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this setup.
All right. And then covering the April events that are happening, we've got Streetcar Bragging Rights coming April 15th through 18th. That is 2 weeks from today at Rockingham Dragway. You've got Redwood Rally Chaos Cruise happening April 18th and 19th. Again, Players Pizza and then to Samoa Drag Strip. That is 17 days away. Mother Road Mayhem, which you just talked about, again, 18 days away, happening April 19th at Tulsa Raceway Park. Carolina Drag Cruise happening April 22nd through 26th at Shadyside Dragway. That is 3 weeks away, 21 days. And again, wrapping out the month of April, April 30th through May 3rd, is the Circuit 2026 at Tulsa Raceway Park. Again, 29 days away. We're there.
Dude, exciting. It's really exciting. This week will be a big change in all the stuff that we've got, backside, behind the scenes stuff, all coming together. So I'm excited.
Yep. And then I thought we'd run through these real quick. These are the results from we have the Road Trip Drag Challenge that we talked about on Saturday. We went over those events. So if you want to run through these back and forth with me, the Class Open Outlaw Blown Unlimited, the winner of that one was Paul Mercer in a Ford Falcon. Where's his average at? Oh, they don't have his average on there, do they?
Oh, wow. Interesting. Yeah.
Well, he's the winner.
He wins. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure it's in there. Just maybe we can't see it on that side, but looks like day 3 they got down. It looks like it was a real race on day 3. So cool.
Yeah.
275 Outlaw Blown Limited in there. You've got Brendan Renner winning that class, which I don't think we were talking about on Saturday. But listen to this: 653 with a 2. Second place, 653 with a 4 by Adrian Brown. Third place, Richard Rocket, 536. So literally 4 thousandths separates the top 3. 12 thousandths separate the top 4. Number 4, Aaron Ellis in that class. So pretty tight, man.
Yeah, for sure. Then we've got the 275 Outlaw Aspirated Limited. Again, we don't have averages on this one, but Peter Johnson in the Valiant VG winning that class.
Nice. And then up in the 265 Street Radial, seems like a very small change there. 265 Street Radial Blown Limited. Say that 3 times fast. Won by Bruce Hunt with the 657.10. Second place, Michael McGregor in a Holden Belmont with a 657.13.
Yeah.
So 3 10,000ths separated that class.
Yeah, pretty wild seeing how close these were.
Yeah.
The 265 Street Radial Aspirated winner there was Kerry Rayner. And again, no averages on all these ones that I'm going over here.
They won. What's the bottom one there? I'm going to have to make this thing big so I can see it. Michael Nichols takes home the win in 235 Street Radial Blown Limited with a 6.531 average. Dude, second place, Dean Wilson, 653 with a 1 for Michael Nichols. And then Dean Wilson, 653 with an 8.
Yeah, these are crazy. And then you see third and fourth there, 654.4 and a 654.5.
Holly, wow, bring it on.
235 Street Radial Aspirated Limited, Shane Locke in the Chevy Love, who was winning that one, I believe, on Saturday when we talked about it, comes home with the win with a 650 with a 9.
Wow. Yeah, and then second place there's close too.
Yep.
Man, these are close. Okay, and then Class G, True Street Blown is Paul DeRue in a Falcon with the don't have the average on that one, but he took the win in that class.
Yep. And then the True Street Radial Aspirated winner there, Trent Bianco in a Fiat X19.
I don't even know what that is, but I like the sound of it.
Right.
And then in the DYO class here, again, you're killing me here. I'm too old, man. Phil Halpin wins that one in a Holden W8 van, which I don't know if that's a van or a like a wagon, but a 029. Is that right?
009. Yeah.
009 separation there. 014 for second place and 020 for third place.
Yeah, pretty wild. And again, they split theirs in 2. So that was the A class for DYO. This is the B class. Again, winner here, Carl Livingston in a Holden LC Tirana. No time on this one.
Nice. Yeah, man. Winning DYO stuff is crazy. Corey Gould takes home the win in Manual Open Blown with a 664 average.
And then in the Manual Open Aspirated, this was Steve Falzon in a Ford 1938, which has got to be cool. I need to see what that looks like.
Yeah.
Average 8 0.015. That's pretty good out of a Ford 1938.
Yeah, like that's an old one.
Yep.
That's an old one.
Sweet.
Real quick, I want to give a shout out to Dan Chandler. Derek Adams makes a great point here. Dan Chandler should win an award for the most comments during the live videos. He should, because he's on the treadmill, and we want to give Dan a big pat on the back. Race weight to the front, baby.
Yeah. We've been killing that. I'm super excited with A, how that group has grown, and B, how far everyone has come. I think we got to be 150 pounds lost in,
Yeah.
what are we, couple months now?
Yeah, 2
Going on
months.
3 months. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty awesome. One more event we wanted to talk about here. This is the Mickey Thompson Turn and Burn. This is coming up here. This is going to be in our next group of events, starting the May events. This is May 5th through 9th, held at Summit Motorsports Park. And as you guys know, we had those guys on back on episode 135 talking all about that event. So if you want to get more details about that, you can go back and hear all that on episode 135.
Yeah, and in the conversation I had, I'm not going to say who said it today, but in the conversation I had today, is that Finnegan is going to be engine swapping Stubby Bob at this event. He's not going to be driving it, but he'll be swapping it. So it's kind of cool. And then Alex Taylor, David Newbern, Tom Bailey, and I think a few more. There was like a list of names that this dude ran off that are going to be there. So this should be a pretty big event. And I'm trying to figure out how to make this work. Obviously, we have the circuit until the 3rd, and this starts the 5th. 2 days of try and buy testing. So you don't have to test on Mickey Thompson tires, but you can use the 2 days of testing just to test, which is kind of cool. But you can also try different Mickey Thompson tires. If you like one, you buy it. And then 3 days of racing after that, 3 days of drag and drive racing at Summit Motorsports Park. Dude, all that for $300.
That's a deal.
Yeah. Yeah, the 2 days of testing is worth $300.
Right. And then they've got a big party on Friday night, and they've got a downhill soapbox derby also during this event. Like, come on, that's going to be fun.
Like at the famous one, at the one that they do all the soapbox derby stuff. It's going to be kind of cool. They got adult size ones, so you don't have to squeeze into a kid one, because everybody knows I'm not squeezing into a kid size.
For sure. Dane Chandler said he'll be there with the Jimmy.
Nice. Have you heard the cam he put in that thing, dude? It sounds awesome.
Yeah. A couple more event updates. Like I said, we are loaded up in this one with event updates. May registration coming. Drop the Hammer, North Carolina. There was a post that says, that's right, we are headed back to Farmington Dragway for Drop the Hammer, North Carolina 2026 in September. This year we will be visiting Roxborough Motorsports Park for day 2. And we're adding a new trailer trash class and bringing back the exciting Scooter Wars from last year. Tickets go on sale May 16th for this event. So we will be talking more about this as we get closer to that date, but just a heads up that that's coming. And also, Carl Stansel here posted in our Race Car Friends group, said, let's talk about the shootouts for Drop the Hammer. We have 2 shootouts that will be running on Sunday afternoon with our Hammer Drop start. The first one is a quick 16 shootout. We'll take the 16 fastest passes of the weekend and run them off. It's a chip draw for opener and lane for each round. The next shootout is our close 8, taking the 8 closest ET range batch for the DYO class and running the same chip draw rounds at the quick 16. So last year's quick 16 winner was Bob Morrison in the green Mustang, and Guy Pate in the Camaro took home the close 8 win. So pretty cool stuff here going on with those as well.
Yep. And shout out to Shelly Riffle out here saying, darn, that would be awesome if I didn't have Mako True Street, which for folks that don't know, that's like Missouri, Arkansas, Kansas, Oklahoma. It's a True Street class that was run real big in the 90s and early 2000s. It is back. And this answers my question why I was hesitant on being able to go to the Turn and Burn, is because that is the weekend of the Throwdown in T-Town. So I will not be going to Turn and Burn. I will be here at Tulsa Raceway Park watching Pro Mods and Funny Cars and Jet Cars and Shelly and Kurt Riffle do their thing as we all race through the night. into all that stuff. So that's the 8th and 9th of May. If you guys are looking, it is free general admission. $25 to park your car, truck, RV, SUV, bus, or helicopter.
And then 10 spots left for Buckeye Skip. So pretty awesome Ohio-based event coming up. 10 spots almost sold out. So if you're interested in that one, jump on it. They won't be there for long. And the last little bit here under the Driven segment here, I couldn't pass up not posting this one. So Rich Woodward had posted this. He said, I switched to Driven racing oil this year in his green car. I saw that they had degreaser, which I wanted to try on the rubber on my quarter panels. He said it doesn't work on the old stuff, but he tried it on his engine bay with a power washer, and it worked well. He said he's going to be picking up a case to keep at the shop. So thought this was pretty cool as well.
Yeah, big change there.
Yeah, for sure.
Big change.
Well, again, that wraps up the Driven Racing Oil segment. Again, code DDR10 can get you a 10% discount on that Driven Racing Oil or a case of degreaser.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's move into some J-Wire stuff. Big shout out to Jay for coming on a couple weeks ago. And then also, we I'll talk about it in just a minute. Let's hit this video.
All right.
What's up, guys? My name is Cole from Fort Worth, Texas. Expert car and marine wiring solutions that you can trust. J-Wire Solutions can wire and plumb your hot rod, your race car, hell, even your drag and drive car. Plus, they offer products to make your driving experience way better, like their blinker module that is just a must for all drag and drive cars. This module will allow your rear turn signals to continue to function while the brake pedal is applied, just like stock. Find all the details at jwiresolutions.com.
All right. And the first one here, you sent me this one. This is the real photo of the Blythe Life Racing engine. And you said looking at this, it gives you anxiety.
Dude, how would that not give you anxiety? Like, there's just so much going on. Like, one, that car is really small, but can you imagine having to work on anything on that thing on the side of the road at 4 a.m. in the dark?
No, I'm good.
No, I'm good. I need more space.
Yeah. Oops. And then this was pretty cool. The Hot Rod Hangout, which we visited last year at the circuit.
Mhm.
The Hot Rod Hangout Speed Shop and Diner has officially opened. I think this was Monday. Did it open?
Mhm. Yep.
Monday it opened. So pretty cool. If you guys are in this Galena, Kansas area, be sure to stop by and check it out. We got a tour of it while we were there, and it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and he's not only a super cool shop owner, but he's also a circuit drag and drive racer. So you got to support those folks.
Yep, makes it even better. And I thought this was kind of cool. I came across this. This was the Mason-Dixon Dragway safety requirement picture. I thought this was just kind of a cool, perfect for a social media, showing you what kind of gear you need for which different time ETs you're running. So
Genius.
yeah,
There needs to be more of that, easy to find. And then now put that in a pinned post at the top of their Facebook page.
right. It's not. I can guarantee you that. I went digging for it later, and it was a few down there. And then you talked about Nico earlier. He made a post in the Circuit Racers group and said when your Plan A car is taking a little longer to put together than you expected, you dust off the Plan B car, and the Plan B car, go cruise it around, and it gets jealous of the Plan A car's new parts, so it decides it wants new parts too. He says there's plenty of time left, right? 29 days. And said couldn't have happened pulling into a better place, though, at Jason Hurley's shop, home of Meltdown Race Engines. We'll be there in something, ready to have some fun regardless. Can't wait to see all my race car friends.
Dude, that guy has the best luck.
Yeah,
If it's going to break, that's the spot to break.
that's true for sure. And then the last little bit wanted to highlight, man, the Taylors. We were talking about the tailored wiring kit earlier. I don't know if you've been watching, but their posts of their trip down Route 66 has been awesome. Dennis, Alex, Megan have all been posting tons of pictures. So I grabbed a few of them here. It just looks like a ton of fun.
if you haven't been watching their YouTube videos on this, you need to. Dude, they were on the side of the road with the Nova it was really, really dark. I don't know
Yeah.
what time it was, the time that video ended, but it was really dark at night.
Yeah. This was a cool photo here too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to be in the same spot. That's the part of the video I watched today was the Mary's Diner part.
Yep. And then, like you said, stuck on the side of the road. But again, tons and tons of fun. This is we've been talking about it all year, the 100th anniversary of Route 66. So this is what it's all about. You can see these guys having a ton of fun, stopping at all the right places on Route 66. So definitely been cool to watch them do that.
Right. And if you want to make the same trip these folks did, you can do the Great American Detour.
True.
Go right by where all the same spots. I mean, you don't have to follow that route, but a lot of us are following Route 66, and you can get in on that free drag and drive across the country from New York to LA. So it's gonna be kind of fun.
Cool.
This in Carlington here says, what are some good stops along the I-70, I-44 corridor? Asking for science. Galena, Kansas is not far off of that corridor, so please swing over there as you come into the edge of Kansas.
For sure. And Corey giving me a hard time about my leaking in my basement.
It's fine. He's got a bucket hanging on there. And then if you remember when Jay was on a couple of weeks ago, I basically berated him into we need more content. We need more videos coming from there. You know, we need to see all the cool stuff they work on. And you guys are going to see a new video drop tomorrow on both his Facebook and YouTube. So big shout out to Brian. You know, I told Jay during that video that we would provide 2 full edits of 2 videos, and he's using one of them right now. And so hopefully that will also get him a little more motivated to give us some more content. So I'm really excited about this. The one they put together is a truck they built in. It's not drag and drive truck, but all of the parts and pieces are, you know, basically Jay used all of his drag and drive knowledge to make this thing happen. It's going to be a really nice truck. It's got working headlights and tail lights and all that kind of stuff, which is very rare for a drag race only kind of vehicle.
Yeah.
All right. Well, move on to Molly and let Miss Joanna know that we're going to be ready here in just a few minutes for her.
What happened?
Looking for a forged piston kit for your vehicle? You need Molly Motorsport Power Pack. What is Power Pack? It's the ultimate forged piston kit that comes complete with pistons, performance file fit rings, hot string steel pins, and clips, all engineered to work together. So all you have to do is build something great. Find your Power Pack at mollymotorsport.com.
Now, before we bring her on, I do want to show something because this is a vehicle that will at some point get probably some Molly pistons, but my brother needed a new tow rig. So what do you do if you need a new tow rig? You buy a Kodiak 2-ton truck, and then you buy this.
Okay, I'm in.
1960. So this cab is going to go on top of the emplacement of the Kodiak cab, and that's going to be the new tow rig. And it's big enough to fit his little MG 1100. And obviously that truck is big enough to be able to pull a trailer. So how cool is that going to look? A 60s 2-ton cab pulling a 66 C10 with a little 1960s MG on the back. Kind of cool.
I dig it.
Yeah, big time. Okay, so let's bring on Miss Joanna. Where did I put this? Here she is right here. Ma'am, hang tight. We're going to make you large. So, because obviously you're the star here. So, will you take a second to introduce yourself? I don't. Everybody probably knows who you are that's watching this, but just give us a quick recap.
Hi, I'm Joanna Reid, and I have a 2018 Mustang that I am shooting for 7s in.
Awesome. Street car. Drive it all the time from what I've seen. And I just wanted to show, obviously, I follow your stuff, but I loved this shot right here. I mean, obviously it's like your cover photo or whatever, but great stuff. But the car's not this color anymore, right?
No, so mine is the pink, and then my husband's is the teal. So that's actually photoshopped. We never got new pictures of our cars together once the wrap was done. Yeah, it's been a time. I did not get the car back together and the supercharger and everything done until like September, and then we went right into racing. So we just never got. Oh, he blew his car up. That's why. So when mine got done, his blew up. It is. It's always easier to blame him.
Well, Yeah, hey, that's part of marriage. I think Eric's been married like 25 years. I've been married going on 20. That's how it works. That's how it
Yeah,
works.
especially for
So,
car couples.
oh, well, my wife's not a car person, but she is fully understandable of my addiction. So we
Well, that's
appreciate
good.
it.
That's
Yeah.
what you need. You need the support.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, it's really fun to watch your stuff. You have done a lot of really cool stuff over the years for sure. Obviously, this focus here with Drag Driver Pete is more drag and drive related. So, not a ton of drag and drives, but kind of give us like a rundown of your history there and how much fun you guys have had.
So my first one was Sick Week in 2023. We did it with my car and we had a blast. The only issue that we had was we were changing tunes out. So my dad built me a 93 tune. And then on Thursday, when we got to Gainesville, unfortunately, the ECU locked. So we were able to find someone to help us that unlocked it, and it was fine afterwards. So I didn't make a pass. I just broke the beams that day. But I do think that if I could have made a pass, I would have had an 860 average on my first drag and drive. So I was pretty bummed. I was number, I think all week I was number 5. So
Mm.
I was a little bit bummed about that, but I was excited that I was able to complete my first drag and drive. It was so much fun. Been super bummed I haven't been able to do one since. But then I did some contract work with Tom Bailey. So I actually shot Route 66 in 2024, and that was insane. Never been in 66, a lot of states I hadn't been. So that was awesome. And then we did Michigan miles, but I did sick ward because my supercharger was a week late and a dollar short. So my car
Oh,
did not make it. Yeah, so that was not fun. But I didn't think we were gonna have as much fun as we did being from Michigan. So
mhm.
being like a Michigan native, I was like, oh, it's all places we've been. But it was so fun and there were so many things that we hadn't done. Like the whole west side of the state, we've seen like a little bit of it, but not like this. So I am really excited. We're going to do it again this year, but with both cars this time.
Oh man, wow. So
Yeah.
when you run both cars like that, do you both have co-pilots?
In this case, Brian will for sure, just because his car is a stick shift car and he needs a little bit more help with it when it comes to like clutch adjustments and
Mhm.
this and how it left and somebody watching the squat, how it leaves and things like that. But I only asked one person, and if she can't get time off, then I'm going to do it alone. I
Yeah.
think my car is, I don't want to jinx it, but I think I can manage it on my own. Being that it's in Michigan, I'm not gonna switch tunes, so the only thing I'm really gonna have to change on my own would just be the tires.
Oh, nice. And then I just want to say you did a great job on the monoxide podcast. That was a lot of fun to listen to.
Thank you.
It was recorded, but it was before PRI. But I've listened to it like the last two. It took me 2 days to finish. It's like 2 hours. So I'm just going to tell everybody we're going to gloss over a lot of stuff here because you can go back to that one. There's a lot of history in that, a lot of the early cars, all that kind of stuff. So I just want to run through some of that real quick. And people saw the post there or the picture I had there of the CTSV, but I wanted to know in the video or in the interview with him, you didn't really talk about your first car, but just that it wasn't as much fun, and then you kind of got into rear wheel drive, all that stuff later. So tell us that story. What was your first car, and then the rear wheel drive stuff?
So my first car was just a Ford Taurus, so nothing like fun at all. And my dad would torment me. He'd be like, "I'm gonna go look at a Mustang." I'm like, "For me?" And he'd be like, "No." Or he'd be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get it, but it won't be like for you. We'll like share it." And so I know
Oh,
what that means. That means it's for him, and he's gonna tell my mom that it's for me.
yeah.
So I did not get a Mustang. I actually waited and I bought one when I turned 20. So I bought a 2007 GT. I actually watched it at the dealership for about 6 months. I passed by it going to
Wow.
college, and they had it up for 17,000 with 20,000 miles on it, I think. It was pretty low. And one day I was like, my dad would set like parameters. So my dad's like off the boat, really strict Italian. So he would set like these parameters. He would be like, "Well, I want you to have all A's in school. I want you to have $20,000 saved. I want you to have this." And so every time I would hit these milestones, he would be like, "Yeah, you have to do this." And I finally was like, I'm 20 years old. I was like, I've hit all these milestones. I'm doing really well in school. So I went to the dealership and this would be unheard of nowadays, but they actually let me take the car and I drove it about probably 25 minutes away and I drove it to my
Wow.
dad's shop. And I was like, "Dad, this is the car. I want to buy it. I've been watching it for months because I really wanted a new Edge. I really wanted a
Mhm.
99 to '04. And my dad said that he would help me with paying for insurance for the first year. So, but he called and they were like, it has to be an '05 and newer because it'll be less expensive because of the safety and the tech in it. And I
Interesting.
was heartbroken because I didn't like that style as much.
No.
I loved the new Edge, and the 3 valve was like, okay. So he looks at it and he was like, this is one of the less junky ones you've brought to me for me to see. So he checked it out, he drove it. It was bone stock, it was dark gray, and I drove back to the dealership, and then him and I came back the next day and bought it. So I
That's
had that
awesome.
car. Yeah, it was I had a lot of memories in that car. I met my husband in it, and when I met Brian, I was like, I kind of want to be more serious. Like, I want to have a faster car, and because that's what my dad kept saying. Like, my dad was like, I've already lived it. I've already done this. Like, if you want to do it, you need to be with someone that
Oh,
supports you
wow.
to do it too.
Yeah.
Not that he was, like, leaving me on, like, out on
Yeah.
the side of the road, but, he was like, "You guys will get it. Like, whoever
Mhm.
this boyfriend is, like, he has to help you." So I was like, "Wow, great. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, put on my Tinder that you must have truck trailer and wants to build race cars?" So, thankfully, I got really lucky and I met Brian at a car show, and so I met him in that Mustang, and then he had the SN that we still have.
That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah, so
H how long
it's
have
been
y'all been
really cool.
together?
This summer will be 11 years together,
That's awesome.
7 years married.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's so cool.
Th- Thank you. So, yeah, it's been car related from the very beginning. And then when I told him I wanted to be more serious, we were only together for like 4 months. And he was like, hey, like a CTS-V is kind of in your price range. And I was like, I don't, are you sure? I was like a totaled one? And he was like, no, like a nice one, like a nice CTSV would be in your price range. And I was like, are you sure? Because I was looking for something that was factory supercharged. And at the time,
Mhm.
I just didn't want a Shelby because I didn't want to relearn and have a manual because my first car was an automatic. And we saw one that was local and it was December. So none of these dealerships like had them outside or wanted you to drive them. And, my husband sent me a link, boyfriend then, and he was like, "Hey, like, we should go check this one out." So we go to the dealership, and it was actually a friend of my dad's, that was the general manager. So he was like, "Sure, you can drive it." He lets me drive it, and of course, our December was really mild, and then it started to snow that day. So I was
Oh,
like I'm
rude.
like, Can I drive it?" And he was like, "It has Blizzaks on it." He's like, "That's fine." He's like, "You can go take it." So I go take it, and I was like going under a viaduct, and it's like sliding. I'm sliding through all the lanes. I've never driven like a rear wheel drive car in the snow ever at that point. Um, and I hear the supercharger whining as it's sliding, and I just turn around and I was like, "I'll take it."
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, please.
Yeah, that was it. That was the most fun winter I had ever had at that point in my life yet. So, I had that car for a couple years, and then when the 18 Mustangs came out and they were just so effortlessly fast, I was like, I'm a Mustang girl, like I need that back. But
Need to be back
um
in that.
yeah, it was a scheme like kind of with my dad. So, we sold the CTS really quick because it was a rare color. They were hard to find in that color. So we put it up, and basically by the end of the day, I was like, man, did I sell myself short? Like, did we put it up for too cheap? But the Mustangs, like people were putting superchargers on them and going like 950, like no problem.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I want that. So I go to my dad's shop, and my dad typically buys, so my dad works on only late model. I mean, he'll touch some older stuff here and there, but mostly just late model.
Mhm.
And, I was like, "Hey, you haven't bought a new car in a while." Like, he bought a 2011 Coyote in 11, and then he bought a Hellcat to learn on it, and I was like, "But the 3rd gen Coyote is quite different, and it's a 10-speed, so you may wanna have one of these to finally learn on." And he was like, "What are you getting at?" "What do
What are
you
you trying
want?"
to say here? Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, "Well, what if I buy the car, and then you don't have to deal with it, like, a payment, insurance, whatever, but you put the supercharger on it, like, you make it fast, we'll share driving it, but it's mine." And he was like, this is one of your like better schemes. So I was like, okay, let's do it. So I sell CTS. I find this exact car that I wanted. I know everyone thinks it's funny, but I did want silver. I picked for it to be silver. That's what it is under the wrap.
Nice.
Um, we put the supercharger on it, and my dad was like, hey, like you've never driven a car this fast. Like I should probably take it the first couple times. I'm like, of course. Of course, wouldn't have it any other way for you,
Yeah.
sir. So my dad takes it and
I
right
hope
off
my
the
daughters
trailer.
listen to this.
It's come a long way. We've come a long way. You got to have a little sass in there, but
Yeah.
you have to troll each other, but
Yeah.
he takes the car down and it goes 960 off the trailer first pass.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, it was really fun. And then he had a Hellcat at the time. So it was like a little rivalry of like his Coyote at the time I think had gone like 9.0 or maybe in the eights, I don't remember. But the Hellcat was like right around 950, 930. So I actually went faster than the Hellcat at one point. So it was like a fun little rivalry. But yeah, it just progressed and was a slippery slope because that's like I did a video recently because I just went turbo 400 on it. So I had the car for 7 years with a 10 speed in it.
Wow.
And I went 840 on the 10 speed. I think I could have went 7 on it. But this is a story I haven't really told. The reason why I finally went 400 was because I was having a ton of drivetrain issues. And it was really just the engine, this, that, and it was down for a year. And I had never been, even if I had an issue, we would get it apart in November and by April it was back together. But this year, it was 20, it was the engine that came out after 23, after the drag and drive. So that engine came out perfect, immaculate, no problems. We actually cleaned it up and put it in Brian's car. That's how
Oh,
little of
wow.
issues it had. We took it out only because my dad and my husband were like, it might be time for you to build something a
Mhm.
little bit more serious. So that more serious one was nothing but problems for 2 years. So I had issues. It was this, that, this,
So
the
what you're
sleeves
saying
dropped.
is 850s is like primo stuff.
Yes.
Sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yes. You know how
Well,
they
we say
say,
it all the time.
yeah, I know. Yes, it's the same thing. Like once you go past that threshold, it's like what I tell people, when they say like to not flush your transmission fluid, but like drain it and add more because you let like the magic out.
Yeah.
Have you heard that?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I feel like happened when I took that engine out, all the magic was gone. Like it was just such a pain after that. So the 10 speed never gave me a problem. That 10 speed had just clutches, stock converter, and I had it in the car for 4 years. So like
Wow.
everyone hates the 10 speed except me. I am like a diehard. I would go back to it in a minute. I would buy
Yeah.
another car that has it. But my dad is also a tuner, right? So like he sits and he's very well known for his transmissions. Like someone else tuned the CTS because he didn't do LS tunes at the time, or they would help like walk him through it. And the minute I drive away, I was like, Dad, this thing is shifting horrible. He
Mhm.
comes back and he yelled at the guy and he was like, why would you leave my daughter's car like this? This is awful. So he redid the whole transmission tune. So like he's just tuners are nerds, no offense,
Yeah.
but like he's
Yeah.
just
Oh, yeah.
king
No, yeah.
nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just king nerd. So like he's king transmission nerd. So that transmission was like still makes me sad that I did it. But
That blows my
I
mind
just
that you were still on a stock converter going that fast.
Yeah.
yeah, stock converter,
Wow.
foot braking. So
Sheesh.
I did a 1.2 960 foot braking. So that was like a little bit of motivation too. Like my Brian's always like a instigator. He like dropped crumbs and was like, well, you could have a two-step and you could pull it up higher and you could leave a little harder. And it had been 7 years with the car being fairly the same. So I was
Mhm.
like, I'm not ready to go turbo. I was like, all right, I was like, I just want everything to be brand new once we get it figured out. So new engine builder, new this, new that, new transmission, new drive shaft, even though those components weren't the problem. I
Yeah.
just wanted like the peace of mind of being like, I can get in this and it's going to be fine. So I only was able to make like in 25, I want to say I was only able to make like 6 passes once we got it together and then the weather
Mm.
got bad and I went 830 at 170 with a 124 60 foot, and that was also foot braking. I still haven't used the trans
That's
brake yet.
insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
I still
insane.
haven't used it. So I actually, this is insane for people to hear too. I have been drag racing for 16 years and have never used a trans brake. So I'm a little
What?
terrified of it. Yeah.
Oh
I've
my
only ever
gosh, that's
foot
gonna be
braked.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
you're gonna
used
love it.
it. Yeah, I'm excited, but I'm like scared at the same time. Like, so we used it at the back of the track. So like I have like the feeling of it, but I like got out of it obviously. But
Wow.
yeah, I'm really excited for it this year. I think I'm going to Speed Fest. I have a spot and I'm gonna do the 850 drag and drive. And
Mhm.
then I'm probably gonna take it easy like all of June and July. And then August. Have you guys ever heard of the Dream Cruise?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, so
Oh,
being
yeah.
from the Metro Detroit area,
Yeah.
we're not far from it, and we go there, like, all summer hanging out, so I'm gonna, like, keep it in a bubble, just drive it, and then in August, I'm gonna do
Mhm.
that, and then Michigan miles, because I was really upset when everybody else got to have, like, really cool rollers on the
Yeah.
bridge. That's all I wanted was rollers on the Mackinac Bridge. I didn't care if I even raced, so I just wanted that, so this year, I'm like, "We're keeping it in a bubble until I get up there and get pictures, and then the rest of the season doesn't matter," which I say that, but I really want to try to get into World Cup again this year.
That's awesome. Okay, well, let's. I appreciate you telling that story. I can't. That's so crazy that you left on foot brake and went 840s and a 10 speed with stock converter. It still blows my mind. Okay, let's move into the post you made the other day. This
Okay.
is kind of cool. We don't see it, I don't come across them very often. But you were like, "Hey, I've done freelance stuff for a while. I think I want to look at maybe getting a job, right?" And so, just wanted to give you the opportunity to tell people that are maybe watching this. We have some folks that watch from, all the brands that sponsor us and stuff like that. Like what you do, what you're good at, and I think probably like what would be the dream job for you if you're, going to go do that?
So I actually had my dream job. I don't know how much you know my background of working, but I was at Motor Trend actually, and I was an account manager with them, so I was helping with like Dodge accounts and some GM and Ford, and then they moved me into an influencer role. So I was actually the plan is I came up with this idea to do essentially an automotive version of Barstool Sports. So we were going to have all automotive content, people contracted with us that owed us like a certain amount of content. So we always had stuff to post. And then if somebody was like, we loved them, I'm just going to use like a girl, for example. So Lacey Blair was our main example. She does a lot of truck content. Our plan was that is if her stuff did really well, let's say, then we could bring her on and she could be like a guest with Alex Taylor at the time, like
Mhm.
while she was a host. That was like the idea. It's like if Ford called and said, "Hey, we want a girl that drives a Super Duty, blah, blah, blah," then we could present her. So I was supposed to be managing 350 influencers.
Oh,
Um,
what?
yeah,
Why?
it was wild, but it was gonna be fun because they were a really fun group. And then we were gonna bring them out to events. So like they could come to Power Tour, they could come to
Mhm.
Drag Week, they could come to any event that Motor Trend offered. But we got bought out by Warner Brothers Discovery within a
Mhm.
few months of that. So I got laid off with like probably 2/3 of the rest of the company. So I
Yeah.
started my own business because I couldn't really find anything in this economy. But a goal of mine would be I want to be an account manager again. Influencers, I love working with them. But I really just love the pure side of marketing. Like I want to be branding. Um, I really like the image of things too. So like I've kind of evolved now that I've been in like all aspects of it, but I really just want to set up like, hey, you should talk to this person. Don't say this. Let's make sure we do this, get this advertising. So I really love that side of it. I would like to eventually work my way away from doing content for other people.
Mhm.
It's
Interesting.
fun, don't get me wrong, like, I will do it, but I just really love, like, the branding and the trending and, like, staying on top of stuff like that, um, like, I would like to hire someone to be my, content person, like, I feel like I've gotten a little bit too old, like, I need, like, a Gen Z person that'll do it for me.
Preach, sister, preach.
Yeah, I need somebody that'll do it, like, very cheap and, like, stay on the trends and, like, make all the goofy edits because that's what everybody wants now. Because I
Yeah.
work with somebody at TikTok and they're like, "Well, have you thought about making it make more noises and sounds and the jingles?" And I'm like, "No, but I guess if I have to." you know.
Yep. Oh, hey, that's the way it goes. Well, that's pretty cool. I appreciate you kind of being
Thank you.
vulnerable there a little bit, kind of going into some of that. And then one thing you did say in the Monoxide podcast, again, if people haven't listened, that's a great one. We love Harris. He actually does one of our ad reads, and it's a good longtime friend. But you said you wanted to be, you and Brian, to be like the Chip and Joanna Gaines of the car world. Tell us what that means. Like, what's that look like?
So I love how their show is edited. So it gives me kind of like a little bit of like an office vibe if you've watched
Mhm.
that. But basically like they'll be crashing, doing some crazy stuff, doing demo, and then they'll have like Joanna on the side and she'll be like rolling her eyes. And I'm like, oh, that's us. Like that's so
Yeah.
perfect for us. So one, I want to like start learning that editing style, but I think car wise, Brian's car is coyote swapped, but it is also um, S550 dash, and it runs off of the S550. Um, well, it did. It had the S550 electronics, but he is actually going Holly this winter. So, or
Oh,
this year. So we have all the Holly stuff. He just hasn't started it yet. So, I would eventually really love to start a business where we will either take customer cars on or we will buy SNs or new edges. Well, I guess they're all the SNs, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Buy them and then we will start buying wrecked S550s or 650s if we get to that point, and then turning them into customer or production cars. So
Mhm.
it would basically be like, I guess I use Chip and Joanna so we have like a show idea because we haven't
Yeah.
posted on YouTube in years. So I would like to eventually go back to YouTube and like have the long form. So it would be like us finding wrecked cars, kind of giving the relationship with the car too. Like my plan is to hopefully buy new edges that have like really good paint but need a motor or need interiors or need a trans, and then we would do the whole swap on them because my husband has hours and hours and hours of CAD into his car, like brackets he created. The door panels are custom, so they're S550 SN hybrids.
Oh, wow.
Um, where we moved, so like he cut into the firewall, but we didn't move it. But to keep the center console, he closed off the original transmission hole and then he like moved it back. So just all the time and effort that we have into like
Mhm.
custom panels and things that we fidgeted with and things like that, like it's hard to explain to people. So it's not that I don't think they're capable of doing it on their own, but it might be easier if someone were to say, "Hey, will you guys just do it with for me?" So
Mhm.
that's like what
Yeah.
I'm hoping to do. Hope we
Well,
wouldn't
and
like not take it to the level of his car, like his car's cage and it's face plated now and all
Mhm.
adjustable clutch. Like I wouldn't want to do that. I would want to do like if his car is like a stage 3, I would build everybody like stage 1s.
Well, and to be honest, like there's a lot of people that have or had like I'm 45. You're much younger than I am, obviously, but when I was coming up, that was a cool car, right? Like I had a friend. I graduated in '99. I had a friend that had a '95 GT. Would love, I'm sure he would love to have that car back, but with all the new stuff that he's used to in his 2022 F-150 that he drives. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Oh
power
yeah.
windows,
Yeah.
locks that all work. They don't rattle and shake and do all that stuff.
Yeah, it is really cool, like, when you're cruising around and somebody looks and they're like, "Is that Apple CarPlay?" So it has, like the Apple CarPlay works, the backup camera works, the actual this is a question we've been getting a lot recently is how do you start it? It actually starts off the well, it's a stick, so you can't remote start it, but, it will work off of the power button on the dash.
Interesting.
So
That's
it
so
works
cool.
like, if you use the S550 key, it'll pop the trunk.
Yeah, see, that's the kind of stuff I love. That's the nerdy shit that that I
right.
enjoy because like I mean, taking again, old cars and new stuff like C10s with LSs. I mean, like those they start the one I have, I would drive it anywhere and my plan is to drive it 10,000 miles this year. Like you can do that because you can go get late model parts, you can go get all the easy stuff people can pull in. They can, plug in an OBD2 reader and then go inside O'Reilly's and get a part.
Right.
It's not anything crazy. So yeah, that's super cool. I think that would make a pretty good show just because the repeatability of it, because then you can focus more on the story of the car
Mhm.
instead of like you're building something brand new from scratch, like a lot of the shows are, because it's different. Every car they build is different. It's these new dramas and pieces and all that. It's more, find my friend. I'm going to give him, shout out here. Aaron Mick would be awesome, because like he had a car in high school. He could tell those stories and have that fun and tell those memories in that show. And then you're like, hey, this is your finished product. Here you go. And you're driving away and you're just replicating that every time. I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. That's what we're kind of hoping for because we actually just had somebody, so we're doing a different version of the door panels. So we just had someone scan them. So we're going to be able to like sell it as a package because
Mhm.
they were like, oh, someone told us that we were going to have to build 5 sets and they were going to be like 4 grand a piece to do it. And then people were like, we can't afford
Yeah.
we thought if they were like 1,000, then we could start selling them. But the swap is just not, it's not, it's not popular enough at this point to
Yeah.
make it worth it. So we're basically using ours as like a dummy. But like you said, like the car has the story already for us. That's why we did this
Mhm.
because Brian bought it in '09. He drove it to college. We
Wow.
met in it, stuff like that. And it was his uncle's. So it just
Oh,
like
cool.
yeah, so that's the story too. Because it's a little bit of a controversial swap actually. People are a little bit upset when they know the Mustang's history because a woman named Emmeline King designed the interior, and she was the first Black designer that Ford ever had. So she
Oh,
was the first one to actually like be the lead on it, and I had
Wow.
the opportunity to meet her, and she is the coolest woman. So
Yeah.
when people like say that, I'm like, well, first off, I appreciate that you know your history.
Mhm.
So thank you. And I'm like, yeah, I actually showed her and I felt really bad. I actually felt really bad. I'm like, hey, we actually ripped that entire interior out.
Hey, you did a
But
great job, just not good enough.
yeah, thank you. Well, you know what's funny is she actually said that that interior was designed with women in mind. So like
Wow.
it was the first one that had a visor that had a mirror in it so you could put makeup on. Like she actually has like her design book of like why it was focused for
How
women. So I was
cool.
like, oh, well like maybe we were putting a more masculine one. No, I don't know. But people get so mad sometimes when they see it and I'm like or like we get a lot of why. Like, why'd you guys do it? And I'm like, I don't know, it was just something different because we didn't think we could.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, new parts in old stuff is cool. That's
Yeah, I
the
agree.
reason.
well,
All
when
right.
most
Well,
people think of like a resto mod, they think like, 70s,
yeah.
80s with new stuff, but really that's what it is. It's just kind of that newer version of a resto mod.
Yeah, and I feel bad. I hate breaking people's hearts, but like technically it's a 94. So technically it's a classic. Like
Oh, guys.
I know.
Oh,
I know. I asked my
oh,
husband the other day, I'm like, oh, do you want to renew your plate and get like a vintage plate? And he was like, or a classic plate, and he was like, no, don't say that again.
oh, ouch. Hurts my heart.
Yeah, so they're cheaper. They're cheaper to register in
I'm with you.
Michigan, so that's why. But he's like,
Yeah.
no, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, tell everybody where they can find you, and thank you for coming on tonight. We appreciate it a bunch.
Oh, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys thinking of me. So I go by that 1320 chick on all my handles. My name is on Facebook, so it's just my first name, Joanna Icabelli Reid. And I'm gonna go back to YouTube, I promise. We just been on TikTok's just so quick and easy, so I've just been on there a lot. That's where we have like most of the updates right now.
That's awesome. And where do they find you on there?
That 1320 chick.
Sweet. Cool. All right.
Thank you.
Well, we appreciate it. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
Thank
Yeah,
you guys. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
How cool, dude.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, that whole like resto mod type thing, like
Yeah.
everybody thinks of it as like you got to have this like 70s or 80s like vehicle, but I mean that's exactly what they're doing with a 90s Mustang, just bringing in the new stuff. So
Yeah.
it is really cool.
For her to stab me right in the heart and say, God, it's vintage, it's classic, 1994. So old. Ugh.
Hey, where I live, I've got extended antique plates on all my cars because you can only drive them March through October, but they are significantly cheaper here, and
Yeah.
I don't drive my stuff outside of there.
Yeah, the old truck, when they first asked how many miles I planned to drive it, I said, I don't know, 5,000 or 6,000 miles. They're like, oh, no, you can't have that. I was like, oh, I mean 500.
Right.
What are you going to do? Anyways, well, thanks to her for coming on. And again, if you want to listen to a lot of her full story, you can find her on the Lacey Blair podcast. You can also find her on the Monoxide, Minnoxide, with our buddy Harris. it's a great episode. It's like 2.5 hours long, and she really dives into a ton of the stuff that they have going on and more stories about everything we talked about here tonight. So, but also, if you are hiring, she's looking. I mean, it sounds like she's, had her perfect job, has changed up some things, wants to go back to that. So sounds kind of cool. And big shout out to Molly and the team over there. Appreciate them doing what they do for us. And we're going to thank some sponsors and race car friends, and then we're going to bring in Mr. Kevin from KSR Performance. So I'll let you handle this one, sir.
All right. Appreciate all of our race car friends again here watching, making comments. We can't do it without you guys. And I look forward to seeing all of our race car friends here in 29 days at the circuit. And our sponsors, can't do it without all of these wonderful companies that support us. Again, Summit Racing Equipment, Deechworks, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cam, J-Wire Solution, AFCO Racing Products, Performabuilt Transmission, Car Change 3D, Low Dollar Motorsports, PowerTube TV, and Racing Junk.
For sure. Well, guys, as we jump into this second half of the show here, please go ahead and hit the share button. Again, we've got Kevin backstage. We're going to do the Deechworks ad read, and then we're going to bring him on for, about an hour's worth of conversation. I think this is going to be a good time. So Deechworks is a leading manufacturer of high-performance fuel system components and the official fuel delivery of Drag Drive Repeat. The DW product line includes fuel injectors, pumps, rails, regulators, filters, lines and fittings, plus pump modules and surge tanks, all engineered to support power levels ranging from 400 to 3,000 plus horsepower. With a focus on engineering excellence and industry-leading customer support, Deechworks continues to drive the future of high-performance fueling. As you guys can see here on the screen, code DDR10 will get you 10% off anything there on the Deechworks.com website. So please jump over there, find all the stuff you need. Listen, grab an extra fuel pump now, because you're going to need one at some point during the summer. I'm telling you, with all the drag and drives you got planned, it's going to happen. And another big shout out to Deechworks. I can't thank them enough. They are our racer party sponsor for the circuit. So they are the ones that are making the 40 plus mile an hour go-karts possible. Appreciate them for doing that. And they're bringing 2 cars to race. Mark Campbell's 850 threatening Mustang here, SN95 Mustang. We were just talking about with Joanna about that. And then, of course, the Volvo Amazon that's 4G63, 5-speed, 8.8 rear end swapped. This thing is going to be a blast to watch, and it's going to be driven by David Deach himself. So this should be a really fun deal. And they're bringing over a whole bunch of teams. So I think they're probably closing most of the facility and going to have some folks out at Tulsa Raceway Park and also Thunder Valley Raceway Park whenever we go there on day 2. So kind of exciting. I'm really pumped about having them on board. Mark is one of the smartest dudes you'll meet. And, if you have any questions about any of the fuel stuff you need, please hit them up. And if Mr. Kevin is ready, you can give us a big thumbs up there, and we can do that. He said, hang on, just saying. Awesome. Yeah, and then Dirty Panda says he's definitely going to have fun here as well. Mr. Kevin, you ready? Think he is ready, maybe? Let's see. We're going to bring him on anyways. Mr. Kevin, you ready to tell some good folks at home what you got going on?
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
Well, dude, we appreciate this. I know it's getting late down there in Florida, and we appreciate you coming on, spending a little time with us, and telling us some fun stories. Lots of drag and drives in your life, lots of fast cars, lots of fun stuff. So I think this will be a good time for everybody in here. So, tell us who you are, what you do, all that kind of cool stuff.
I'm Kevin Smith, own KSR Performance and Fabrication in Gainesville, Florida. I'm actually coming up on, I think, my 2009. Oh, wow. And there's my cat. I guess that's 17 years in business now. Man, yeah, actually, awesome. It's actually today is when KSR started, April 1st. Long story to that, which we probably shouldn't get into because there was some lawsuits involved with it. But anyways, we're going to say that April 1st was actually the day that KSR got started in 2009. Even though it wasn't officially established until probably later that year.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way everything happens. That's the way everything goes. You kind of, do some side work, basically. That's.
Yep. There was an end of a job at one spot, and then and there's one of my kids. Fresh out of the shower, getting ready for bed.
Yep. Life of a dad right there, I'll tell you.
Yeah, and like that's the biggest time part of my life right now, which is just to sidetrack a little bit for a second. Like, there's plenty of people that are like, well, why don't you get more done? Why don't you do this? And it's like, well, I spend 20 hours plus a week just driving kids around and picking up kids because I am like they're with me half the time, they're with their mom half the time, and then when I have them, it's me. So it's me taking them to school, picking them up from school, helping them with lunches. We just like between when we got home 20 minutes ago or 30 minutes ago, and now we, emptied the dryer, got the dishes done. Like it's me. So there's a huge time commitment for all that. And I mean, it is what it is. Definitely not complaining about it. It's just the way life is, and they take priority over the business. And with one of them sick, I missed work that day. And with three of them, we miss a few days of work because when one gets sick, they just pass it down to each other, and then eventually I get it. And actually, we all kind of got something last week. So, but been in and around Gainesville my whole life. Started drag racing. Let's see. I got my car. Actually, it kind of is all looped together. I got my first car, my 78 Cutlass, that is being built. Oh, yeah. Well, it's paused right now on my YouTube channel because I've just been prioritizing customer projects. Mm-hmm. But 78 Cutlass had the amazing 260 cubic inch V8 from Oldsmobile in it when I bought it. It ran 1980 or 90 first time down the drag strip.
Oh gosh, dude. Wow.
So we did a 350 swap, staying with Oldsmobile. I'm kind of an Oldsmobile guy. And we stayed with Oldsmobile, put a anemic 350 in it, and it ran as quick as I think 13s with that engine on motor, and then tickled it into the 12s with a little bit of nitrous. And then I built an engine, still stock head, forged pistons, better connecting rod, but still factory Oldsmobile heads. Actually got to test an intake for Edelbrock back in 2000, or that probably would have been 2000, the small block Olds Victor. Yeah, I was one of the first people to get one of those and test it for Edelbrock. So that was kind of cool. And started drag racing.
It's like that car has it's like the shell, right?
Yeah, it's basically the roof and quarters and firewall with a 25.3 stock suspension from the firewall back. It still has the frame in there and parts and pieces of it here and there, but the goal is to be the first 6-second Oldsmobile powered door car with a small block, with a turbo. I've got the motor, I've got the transmission, I've got the rear end, I've got the suspension. I just don't have the time to put it together.
Wow.
Because what some people may get or may not get is doing this, because I'm at the shop on top of having the kids. I'm still at the shop 60 hours a week, sometimes later. I got home at 12:30 last night because I get my kids on Wednesdays, and then I have them every Wednesday, Thursday, and then every other Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's like I have them 2 days, and then I'm off 5 days, and then I have them 2 days. So the days I don't have them, I'm typically at the shop till 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night.
And then it's like, get home.
Yep. Yeah, because like on Thursdays, tomorrow, I'll spend 4.5 hours with driving them around, just from home to school to they get out at different times. Luckily, they all go to the same school now, which is awesome.
Nice.
So they get out of school at different times, and one goes to a gym because I've got two that do gymnastics. Mm-hmm. So one goes to a gym that's 20 minutes from their school, and then the other one goes to a gym that's 35 minutes from the school. So, and they go to gymnastics at different times because my youngest is in like super ultra high level gymnastics, like just had a state championship competition a couple weeks ago. And she goes for like 5 hours every weekday. So that's what she's wrapped up in.
Dude.
And then my middle daughter goes like 3 hours, but only 3 days a week. So a lot to juggle, but because I spend so much time away from work on Thursdays and Fridays and a little bit on Wednesdays, I just work super late Monday nights, Tuesday nights, lock the doors. And it's funny because without anybody there, I actually get a lot more done because when everybody's at the shop working, I'm managing and helping out with the projects that they're working on.
Yep.
And then I don't get much work done on the project that I'm trying to get work done on. And it's just kind of the way it goes. And a lot of times when you work, when your hobby is the same as your job, like it makes it difficult. Like it makes it more difficult. Like when I get done with working on customer stuff and I go to work on my stuff, I'm kind of like, that thing will be there another 10 years from now. So, because I've actually taken a year break, a year plus break on my Cutlass. Just I made a mistake on a tube and then like connected a bunch of more tubes to it, and so now I've got to cut a bunch of stuff back out, and it's my fault rushing because it's funny how they say the shoemakers' kids are the ones that go without shoes, which it's kind of the same way with my race car. Like that's the one that gets rushed, and like I don't think things out as often or for as long as I should. Like customers' cars, I'm trying to make it as good as we can make them right out the door. Because if my junk breaks, I don't care. It's part of the YouTube stuff. It's part of the story. It's all good. Customer's car breaks, they call you and they're like, "What the heck?" Like we just finished a really big like pro touring build on a '68 Camaro, real nice LS. We did TKX transmission, full Detroit speed suspension, the whole deal. Had a 335 tire on the back of it and a 305 tire on the front.
Come on, yeah.
Like. Got it in there. It looks, the stance is right. Everything's great. Big build, like a lot of money invested. And I drove the thing. I put 150 miles on it before he ever got the car, between dyno tuning it, driving it around the street, just putting miles on it to shake all the little bugs out of it before we handed it to this guy. He goes out on a date the first night with it and it breaks the starter. And I'm just like, unreal. So I end up, it was funny because he texted, I was out to dinner with my girlfriend and her daughter for their birthday, or from her daughter's birthday. And I get a text from him, and not everybody's got my cell phone number, but this customer, he's a family friend that we go way back with. So he's got the phone number, and I get a text middle of dinner, and I'm 40 minutes away from where he's at. So we were wrapping up dinner. I stopped by the shop, pick up a trailer, head 40 minutes out of the way to go pick him up. Take them, load the car up in the trailer, take him back to his house, take the car. I ended up taking the car home with me in the trailer, and then we fixed it the next day at the shop. But it's just like, you do everything you can to try and avoid this stuff. And like this brand starter, never had one fail. It's the same one I've had on Soccer Mom for like 6 years. Put it on his, and it locked up. Like, and then because it locked up, it ended up smoking the battery because it had a lithium battery in it, and he kept hammering it with the key, like just trying to get it to start, and he would hear it click. Well, it was like a direct short in the starter and just ended up hurting the battery. So we swapped the battery and the starter, and all's good. We're actually at the track with him last Friday, first time he's ever been down a drag strip, which is kind of funny because he's actually like a family friend of my parents. So, but yeah, lots of neat stuff. And I got that car, my Cutlass, all the way down into the 11s on motor with the built motor, and it went 1143 at like, I think like 108 because it was all front half. I had a converter that flashed like 4,800 RPM, drove it on the street. It was my only car at the time, so drove it on the street and won a track championship with it, bracket racing in 2003 here at Gainesville. So that was a lot of fun. Did some bracket racing, and that's kind of how I got my start in racing. But I've always liked to push stuff. Like I'm never one that likes just doing the same thing over and over and over again, which, that's why I like to do the circle track racing and I do some road racing. And it's like we try to mix and match. And I've been working on
and drag and drive and
burnouts and drag and drives and like all these different things we do with the heads up stuff. And I've got a video coming out. Probably we're not allowed to release it yet because it's a thing we did with Nitto down at the Freedom Factory where we did the driver's battle thing again. And we built a cheap car for it and took it and, all over the Freedom Factory, inside the track, outside of the track. I jumped it coming into the track, and I've got a great picture from Matt Christian, the guy that does a lot of the pictures for Cletus and the Freedom Factory and stuff. And the car's like, 10 inches in the air, jumping down into the banking of the racetrack. And it was awesome. But yeah, I've done some off-road, very limited, but they call it Rally Cross here they do it at this track called the Firm. It's Florida International Rally Motorsports or something like that. It's at the Keystone Airport, which is half an hour from here. And awesome. It's off-road, on-road, and I had a BMW E36 that I had picked up cheap and just drove the thing like I hated it. Uh-oh. You guys still there?
We're back now. Oh.
I guess my earbuds are dead. So if you can still hear, that's cool because they show they're charged.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Oh, now we're back on the earbuds.
Yeah.
We're back on the earbuds?
Yeah, we're good.
Weird.
Yep.
I don't get that.
Technology.
So, yeah. Yep. So, been doing all kinds of different motorsports stuff. I love driving. I did some, after I started KSR, I got involved with some local guys, and I kind of drag racing had been my thing. I had worked with Will Stevenson and his Outlaw drag radial car, so I'd gotten the heads up experience or working with him, getting to do some of the stuff. And he won actually won a good amount in the early days of Outlaw drag radial back 2008 through 2014. We did a bunch of drag radial racing and got the bug for going real fast then.
Yeah.
And if you go way back on my YouTube channel, I had a moment in his car similar to what I did in Soccer Mom a couple of years ago at Orlando, where in the finish line, somebody had blown up a few runs ahead of me and they kind of just dusted it up, and that was part of it. But the bigger problem was I squeezed the brakes a little too hard, and this thing, I think I went like 170 to the 8th mile in it, and I squeezed the brakes. We weren't using the parachute because you're 8th mile racing on a quarter-mile track, and you had plenty of room to just coast. Well, the guy I was racing, when he stepped off the throttle, it was first round of competition. I had bought into Outlaw drag radial, or no, I had bought into Radial versus the World while Will was racing the car in Outlaw drag radial. So my first round comes up, I get beat, and as we're going through the finish line, he steps off the gas in the other lane, and I hear a big pop. And I wasn't sure if it was me or if it was him, so I'm like, all right, let's get this thing woed down in case something's about to fall off of it. But by doing that, I squeezed the brakes a little too hard, locked up the rears just enough to get it sideways, and I got, reach up, toss the parachute out just like I did in Soccer Mom, and there was so much smoke from the starting line view. The guys roll down there on the golf cart, and they're like, blow up? And I'm like, no. They hit the wall? And I'm like, no. We just need some tires. We're good to go. So, that video is way back on my YouTube channel. And everybody went from being sad that they thought the weekend was over because Will hadn't even had his first round yet. And we get some tires put on the car because Mickey Thompson was there at the track and sling some tires on it. And he goes all the way to the finals in his class and breaks the blower belt. It was a It was a 615-inch Steve Morris big block with big cheap heads on it and a Pro Charger 136 millimeter reverse belt drive Pro Charger. And it broke the blower belt in the finals for Will. So, but yeah, I guess, like it was, and it's just one of those things that in the moment, and, everybody's like, "Were you scared?" And I'm like, "No, I was mad. I was about to crash my buddy's race car, like mega dollar.
Yeah.
This is the car that it eventually, with the same combination in it, went as quick as like 4 teens at 180 in the 8th mile.
Oh, wow.
Now, when the weekend that I drove it was actually the first weekend it had the Steve Morris 615 in it, and he went from a 565 to a 615, and we were trying to figure out what the car wanted and how to manage the power and all this other stuff. And I wasn't even supposed to drive, but Will was struggling, and I just jokingly said, "Well, I'll buy into Radio versus the World if I can drive it, so we get some extra test runs." And he's like, "Sure." And I'm like, "Are you serious? Because okay, I'm down."
A real deal car, yeah.
Yeah, and didn't have my safety gear, so I crammed into his stuff because Will's a little shorter than I am. So his fire suit's short on my arms and short on my legs, and it's all tight. But my first experience in a 160 mile an hour 8th mile car, and it was awesome. I think we were running 450s and stuff back then, which is funny because that's what Soccer Mom runs now.
Yeah, it is a real deal street car.
Yep, and it was. Back then, the tires, it was like Gen 1 Mickey Thompson drag radials. So
wow.
That car, we would, a good 60 foot. You going to bed? Oh, no, you need a fork. This is late nights getting home from gym. But it was right here, but this is. So we would roll it out fairly soft, I say like a 115 or 116 60 foot, and then the thing would go 170 miles an hour to go 450s. Well, now even with the 235 drag radial on Soccer Mom, I think I went 113 60 foot, 301, 461 at South Georgia. 461 at only 159 miles an hour, so 10 miles an hour less than what we were doing with Will's car back then. Which, big block versus small block, but still, it was a different world back then. You rolled them out a little softer, and the shocks have gotten so much better. The track prep's gotten better. The tires have gotten better. The power management's gotten better. Everything just keeps stacking up and getting better and better and better and better. And we just keep going faster and faster in these things. And
yeah,
right.
Back then, I say back then, Drag Week was around back then, and there was guys going, 8s and stuff. I don't remember when they cracked into the 7s on the drag and drive stuff on Drag Week, but it seems like, granted, I haven't paid a ton of attention to it until Sick Week came along, and it's in our backyard, basically.
Oh, yeah.
And with my schedule, it's just all right, well, if I'm going to pick one that I'm going to do, it's got to be that one.
Yeah.
So we, we really started paying attention to Sick Week.
We get to do parties at your shop.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
really
great.
You get to watch other people do stuff.
Yeah. And it's fun. I enjoy the camaraderie and everybody hanging out. And there's times where it's, I see pictures and I'm like, holy smokes, there was a ton of people here. Because a lot of times they'll get there before we do, or we end up this year, showed up on the trailer and there's just a mountain of people. And I'm trying to pull into the shop back in the trailer, and there's somebody doing a burnout coming at me down the road as I'm trying to stop and get the trailer backed into the shop. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, this is cool and all, but let's keep this under control, because I don't want to end up getting crashed in my own shop. So
your road out front is definitely resealed.
Yep. It's doing good, and it's kind of funny because whether it's other people that just are local that race, or just people that there's a few other kind of little hot rod shops there in the industrial park, and they'll come by and do a burnout out in front of the shop. And my shop road is kind of the spot where it all happens. which is kind of fun. So it's like, all right, well, I'm okay with that. Like, at least until we get a different place. Like, I'd like to, like, we need a bigger shop. Anybody that's been in the shop, I've got 2 guys in the office and then 4 guys in the shop besides me. And then Will works part-time because he retired out of the hospital and just wants to kind of play work at the shop. So he comes down and works 2 or 3 days a week with us, and he'll assemble our engines or come out and help in the shop when we've got a project that we're like thrashing on, which for the last couple of weeks we've been working on a mid 2000s era NASCAR Cup car that did you shake that up? Okay. That one of our, if anybody's watched my channel much, they've seen us running around with the Vipers, and that's a customer that we've supported in the Trans Am Series and SCCA for a lot of years. Won a few national championships with him as his crew chief and spotter, and so his name's Lee, and he's big into drag racing too. He's got a twin turbo Viper drag car. He bought like I said, he's a Mopar fanatic, like Mopar, no car. Like, he's one of the guys that if he can't rent a Mopar from the airport when he flies in somewhere, he'll go to the next counter until he can find somebody with a Mopar to get a Mopar to support the brand. He's one of those guys. So anyways, he bought a 2005 to 2007 Dodge Charger NASCAR Cup car. It's done a little bit of road racing before he bought it, but it's been parked for a while, and we've been going through, and the fire bottles are out of date. The bladder in the fuel cell is out of date. There's hoses that are leaking. The brake fluid's old. Like, even though it runs, and like as soon as it got to the shop and rolled off the trailer, I took it and drove it around the industrial park and kind of like, okay, this thing's pretty sweet. But we literally had to go through so much stuff to convert this thing and to just to update it, because what we're doing with it is we're actually putting it in a shipping container at the end of, I think at the end of April, and it's going to France, and we're going to run the 24 Hours of Le Mans circuit with it's the Historic Sports Car Association, HSR. Oh, cool. Historic Sports Car Racing, something like that. And yeah, there's a group of like 30 of them that are going over there. So Joe Nemechek's going, Bill Elliott's going, he's going to be driving a car, and we're one of the people, like, I'll be crew chiefing and working on the car because it's a boatload of money to ship this thing over there and back, and like all the flights and all this other crazy stuff. I mean, it's a massive expense to do this event, but Lee got the car what I consider pretty cheap. I mean, like 60 grand for a turnkey, early, mid to 2000s NASCAR Cup car, complete. It's got got all the huge brake, or not the huge brakes, but like the 6-piston front brakes that all fit inside of a little 15-inch wheel. It's got the legit like Mopar Cup Series motor at the time. Supposedly it'll turn 9,500 and makes like 880, 90 horsepower, something like that.
Come on.
So, and it sounds good too. We'll get that. I think it's an R5 P7. Like I
don't know.
I'm not as versed as some of the people are on it, but pretty exciting deal for us. I mean, normally we travel around the country with him. Mm-hmm. Like we open the season at Sebring every year. We end up going up to Road America in Wisconsin, Watkins Glen in New York, Road Atlanta, VIR, Circuit of the Americas in Texas, and a few other tracks here and there in between. It's usually like I want to say it's a 12 to 14 race season. Wow. And when he runs for the championship, like, we're at every single race, and it's a commitment because sometimes it's flying out. If it's one of the ones that's farther away, if we're driving the rig, we might be leaving on a Tuesday, to get like to Watkins Glen by Thursday evening so that we can load in Thursday evening and practice is first thing Friday morning and then Friday afternoon, practice Saturday, qualify Saturday afternoon, race Sunday. There's been a couple of times we've been the support series for NASCAR, like at that happened at Road America a couple of years when they ran Road America on July 4th weekend. That was pretty cool, like being around all the NASCAR world and all that craziness that is, which is kind of neat that there's a guy that drives NASCAR every week. It's Cody Ware that's in the 51 car. Like years and years and years ago, 2012, 13, somewhere in that range, he rented my road race car from me. Like we have 2 road race cars that we've prepared at the shop, and we actually had 3 at one point, but one of them turned into the burnout car. But we had these 2 cars that we would rent, and then I would drive a third car that we would always kind of go for the win in. And we won a ton. It was an SC300, just like, actually I still have the car. But so this kid, Cody, he came and rented I have a 300ZX road race car. It's like a 93 or 4 Nissan 300ZX, slammed the thing on the ground, put big tires on it. And we ran in this series that's called Champ Car Endurance Series now. These 12 to 24-hour races that we would go do. And Cody came and rented from me all these years ago. Kid did super good, met his mom, all this other stuff. And then didn't know who his dad was. And so it comes full circle that his dad, Rick Ware, buys out Clay Milliken's Top Fuel team, and Clay and I had kind of gotten to be buddies. And I had Cody's phone number from all these years ago, and I just randomly texted him, and I'm like, "Hey, is this still your phone number? Like, what are you doing? Like, can you get me into the Daytona 500?" So he got me into the Daytona 500 this year with garage passes, and that was all really cool. And like you see all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes in that world, and he gets a bad rap because they typically run 25th to 35th, like they're towards the back of the pack. But the NASCAR field has gotten so competitive, like, because I come, like, when I was a kid, before I could drive, I was big into NASCAR, like, Dale Earnhardt, and then kind of transferred into a Jeff Gordon fan as he came into the scene, which kind of funny because, they were enemies on paper, even though they were business partners behind the scene and just raking in the money. But that world these days, with the cars all being spec, I mean, at Martinsville this past weekend, the leader and last place are running 0.4 of a second different from each other on a lap. And it's just like, okay, these guys are all good. It's just to get that 0.4 and to consistently have that speed, you're spending so much on engineers that are doing all this.
Cubic dollars.
It's insane, which, I mean, we've gotten to see a little bit of that with, like, Cletus's adventure into the O'Reilly series and all those guys that came to the track and all the data. And he hasn't shown any of the sim stuff because he can't, because the Chevrolet and GM, they don't want any of the data getting out from like what their sim stuff is. And it's just like, like you said, cubic dollars. And it's cool to like have all these different people we know in different places. And, we met Alex Bowman years ago because of the Cletus stuff and kind of friends with him a little bit and some of the other people that have come along. And like, I never would have thought as a kid that I would get to know people in NASCAR.
Yeah.
And, I have the aspirations of trying to find my way into an ARCA car like Cletus and George have done.
Yeah.
But it's just even that, like, I've talked to a couple of different teams and stuff, and even in the ARCA series to be, if you want to buy into one of the cars that wins consistently, that's 80 grand per race.
Ooh, yeah, dude, you can race a pro mod kind of that money.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. You could definitely rent a ride in a pro mod for that kind of money for sure. But going fast in a straight line is great and all, but the more money you spend on your drag race car, the quicker you go down the racetrack.
The less
and
time
the experience. The experience is more intense because you're going faster and you're on the razor's edge but like the road racing stuff I've done and the circle track stuff with the Crown Vics and like that stuff where you're in the car for hours at a time, like the dollar to fun ratio really goes way up because you're in the car for so long.
Yeah.
And like you look at the Crown Vics that
so what
that
you're
Cletus
saying is
doing.
like the 12 minutes that we have to race at Sick Cart Chaos. That's nothing to you. Me, I'm like wore out. Put me.
Oh no, those like karting is one of the most intense motorsports you can do because you never get a break.
Yeah.
So on the road race stuff, like I've raced Daytona, with especially the cars that we did with this Champ Car Endurance Series, they're like 250 horsepower, which 250 horsepower, even running the road course layout at Daytona with the bus stop on the backstretch, we're still 145 miles an hour at the start finish line by the time we make it back around through turns, NASCAR turn 3 and 4, and then back to the start finish line. That's with only 250 horsepower. And, a lot of people don't know the Cup cars at Daytona and Talladega, they're only making like 550 horsepower. Like they're really not that impressive power wise.
Right.
But if they let them have 900 horsepower, the cars would be going 250 miles an hour and they'd be flying them off into the grandstands if things got out of control. So, but yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I love the drag and drive side of things, because even though you still only have you might have 2 or 3 runs per day. Ideally, you're having 1 run per day if everything's going great. But you make your run, you work on the car, you've got your good buddy that's in the car with you, and then you've got all these other people that that are in the same battle as you are, and then you're driving the thing 4 and 5 and 8 hours down the road to the next event, the next checkpoint, and all this other stuff with things breaking down, and there's always going to be something that breaks. So, depending on what you're doing that next day, you hope, like I love the drive day we had this year for Sick Week.
That's nice.
Like, which unfortunately led to me tearing my junk up. That was kind of the beginning of it because we had all day to drive the next day. I kept leaning on it at South Georgia because I was trying to catch up to Brett and
Blaine.
Oh gosh, Blaine in shoot, not Rocket, El Toro, yeah, and then Tanner in the Chevelle. He had gone and set the record.
Yeah,
and I'm looking at my numbers and I'm like, all right, I think I can get there. And the pass it blew up at Orlando, it was going like a 57 or 58. Now, I didn't mean for it to go that fast. I was trying to, because after Blaine crashed, I was like, all right, I need to dial this thing back and just make a clean A to B run, because Tanner had gone like a 490 on day 1 at Gainesville, and we had gone a 470. So he was going to have to go like a 450 flat every day, as long as I kind of kept going like low 460s. So I went a 461 at South Georgia, and we saw a little bit of coolant pressure, and we had rented a house there just outside of the racetrack. And when we were driving back to the house that night, it got a little warm, and I'm like, oh. So we snatched the cylinder head off of it.
Hang on, I want to tell the story, but I want to tell it in this next segment. Let me do an ad read real quick, and then we got to.
Okay.
This is a good one because it ties into all the fun stuff we did. So, Performer Built
All right.
Transmissions is the official transmission builder of Drag Drive Repeat It. Performer Built Transmissions. The goal is to engineer and build the toughest transmissions on the planet. At Performer Built, they don't just rebuild transmissions; they systematically re-engineer each model to eliminate OEM flaws and to achieve the highest levels of performance. That is why they say our transmissions are not just built, they're performer built. And of course, you guys know we say it all the time. They put a 4L60 in the sevens. Like, I don't think you have to explain anything more than that. Those dudes know what is a, if you need a GM transmission, they're your go to for sure. Okay. So for the folks that are just jumping in here, you're telling the story of Sick Week. You got a little bit of coolant pressure on the pass at South Georgia, and then you're headed to the house, to the rental house, and it's you're getting a little warm.
Yep. So we actually went inside. We had ordered, like before we left the racetrack, we had ordered pizza delivery to the house and like timed it all perfect. Like pizza got there, we got there with the car. So we roll into, and the place had a garage. It was awesome. Didn't know it had a garage when I rented the house. And it worked out great because, the night after Gainesville, it was still really cold at South Georgia, like up there in Adel, Valdosta.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually had a little small space heater that we brought with us, and it planned to just, because we don't have any antifreeze in Soccer Mom. And when I destroyed the thing at Orlando, everybody said I froze the block. Well, I didn't freeze the block, but there was another good reason why it blew up the way it did. But you going to bed? Okay. Good night. All right. Love you. Bye. So we thankfully we were in the garage, and we go in, we eat pizza, and come back out and start looking, and I can see a little piece of head gasket hanging out, and I'm like, okay, been here before, and kind of thinking based off our past year's experience that this is usually not good. And Will, my co-driver, he's kind of like, how many passes did we make at South Georgia? I'm like, 5. He's like, how many do we need to make for the whole week? And I'm like, 5. So, and it was kind of that attitude of, well, I want to try to win this thing and not just finish. Although there's saying, there's always that thought of, you got to finish first.
Yeah.
First you have to finish first. There's, that saying goes something like that. But anyway, we snatched the head off of it, and it didn't hurt the head at all, which is really rare for when I blow something up. Because usually when I blow something up, I blow it up like top of the line, scatter it really good. Torch the heads, torch the block, like just junk it. So we, there was a racer who had blown up at South Georgia, and I put a parts call out, and he Facebook messaged me, and he's like, hey, I'm coming up from Gainesville. Do you have parts at your shop? Which I did. So I had somebody from go back to my shop. It's like 9:00 at night. They go to the shop, meet him, get him the head gaskets. So then I meet his guy at like 11:30 at night. We pulled the thing apart just about in time for me to go take the street. We had brought that giveaway Tahoe with us that my dad was driving on the whole event, just to kind of put some miles on it and shake it down. So I took that from the house to the track to pick up the parts, came back to the house, slammed the thing back together, and I think we finished it at like 2:30 in the morning, something like that. But because the next day was a drive day, we weren't like super rushing. And we left at a decent hour, hit the checkpoints. It was still running kind of warm on the way, like not crazy warm, but it was eating some water. Like by the time we hit the checkpoints and made it into Bradenton, like we stopped to eat, and after we ate, we popped the hood and checked the expansion tank, and it's like half a gallon down, and that car doesn't use water when it's right. So we contacted Steph at Ace Race Engines because he's down there, and I'm like, hey, maybe the head's hurt from yesterday, so are you going to be at your shop late? Can we? And this is like, I think it was like 5:30 when we were eating dinner, and when we figured out, kind of made the plan to pull the thing apart. And he's like, oh yeah, there's people here, come on by. So we wheel in there, snatch the head off of it again. He loads the thing up, and it's a thousandth and a half bowed down on the cylinder that it hurt. And so I'm kind of like, okay, maybe that's it. He said with an MLS, it's got to be perfect. MLS gasket. And then we only had the factory size head studs in the block. It was a stock block combination. So we load her up, go to Bradenton the next day, and then the rain and the wind, they rain us out and send us over to Orlando. So as we're getting to, and they held us long enough at Bradenton that it was pretty late by the time we left Bradenton.
Oh yeah.
And so we hit the checkpoints, grabbed dinner with Rovic and Rich Guido and all that crew somewhere over there around Titusville or somewhere. And as we're 10 minutes from the house, we smell something electrical burning. And usually, like I've failed fans on that car, but we put a Delta Pag fan on that. Hasn't been a problem since then. And we failed some coils occasionally on the car. Most of the time that's been self-inflicted because I'd spin the motor over with the spark plugs out and the coil wires just dangling, and smart coils don't like that. So anyways, we get up the next morning and diagnose, like Will got up pretty early because he's an early riser, and he gets out there and messing with it and diagnoses it as an alternator. Well, we carry a spare alternator with us. First time we've ever had one fail. And so we put our brand new spare alternator on there after a little bit of modification, which had to adjust it's an adjustable voltage alternator, so we can turn it up to 17 volts because we run a 16 volt battery in the car. Mm-hmm. And we put it in brand new out of the box, not working. Oh. And we're like, this isn't good. And we had just put a one of those full spectrum power batteries in it. And I got to say, those things are amazing. And we're finally like, all right, well, we got to get to the track, because we had hoped that they were going to run the fast cars first thing in the morning. And that's when we had the shot to run the fastest. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the air was great. I mean, negative 1,500 feet. It was killer. So through all this drama of alternator, where our house then was 25, 30 minutes from the track. And so we're driving, just watching the voltage fall on the dash. Mm. We stop and get a little bit of pump gas and fire the generator up while we're at the gas station, recharge the battery a little bit, get to the track, start just thrashing to try to make that first call, because they're prepping the track. They're saying, radial is going to be the first. So we're thrashing. And we get up, we make the first call, and as I'm spooling it up, it does something funny right as it drops RPM back to the launch RPM. And I'm kind of like, I'm in the car, I'm keyed up. The guy that I was running was a stick shift guy. He hung me out a little bit, and kind of funny because he griped at other people for letting him be in the beams for half a second before they staged, or a second before they staged, and he hung me out for 5 seconds. Anyways, so it just sounded different when it came up to the spool RPM, and then it drops to my launch RPM, and it did a weird big drop, and then it came back up, and I'm like, whatever, it's fine. Well, then it goes out and just grenades the side of the block off out there at 400 feet. And I get down to the top end, and Orlando's been my nemesis. Like, we've literally hurt the thing bad at Orlando 3 years in a row now. So I get down to the top end, and I'm like, all right, well, let's see how bad it is. And I hit the starter button, and there's no compression in the entire engine. It's just like you had all the spark plugs out. I'm kind of like, well, that's weird. I wonder what happened. Like, I'm thinking that the timing chain broke. Like, what is going on with this thing?
Yeah.
So we get it back to the pits, get the nose off of it, and there's head gasket hanging out of every single cylinder.
Ooh.
And I'm like, how in the heck did I pull this off? Because this is different. Like,
this is impressive.
I've never had this happen before. I've never seen this happen before. It was kind of like when Steve Morris had that deal where he got that bad set of rods and it literally blew up every single rod at the same time. Like, it was that kind of failure. So ends up, breaking the block in half, like blew the whole side out. Well, through some investigative measures after we got back home and did some looking at data and looking at video, like in my video that actually the down track video is from Clay Milliken, the car just all of a sudden starts huffing black smoke out of it, like right before it blows up. And I'm like, wait a sec, I'm on methanol. Like, methanol doesn't rich smoke like that. Methanol doesn't soot out the exhaust when you run it super rich. So back the story up, when we were at the gas station that morning, we topped off our pump gas street jug, because on the street we carry a 5-gallon jug of pump gas with us, and then the methanol with us in another jug. The jugs looked identical.
Oh,
they were the same exact jug. So for the rest of the week, Will was who put the methanol in the car. And in that thrash that morning, because we got there late with the alternator drama and like all that other stuff, I topped the car off. So I put, like, we have a 3-gallon cell for the methanol at the front of the car, and I topped it off with 1.5 gallons of pump gas. So when it gets out there and it's really churning all the fuel up, and the car flips fuel, like, let's say I launch it like 10 pounds of boost typically on drag and drives, because I'm just trying to be consistent and smooth and get it off the starting line. Well, it switches from pump gas to methanol at between 5 and 6 pounds of boost. So that was the first indication when I heard it do something weird that something wasn't right. And I, looking back, should have stopped and checked, because I knew it was different. So, it gets really churning the fuel all up and mixing it up as I'm, it's like soccer mom. When I let go of the trans brake button, it rolls over at like 8,100. So when it's at 0.7 of a second into the run, it's at 8,100. And we shifted it like 88, 8,900. And then it runs out the back with the 235s on it. It runs out the 8th mile right at 9,000 RPM. So when it's really got that fuel pump screaming and just churning all that pump gas and methanol together, the octane just went way down, and my block just went
way out.
Way out. Oh. So that was my 2026 sick week, completely self-inflicted. And, it's years ago when actually Cletus is who pushed me to start my YouTube channel. And as a business person, I never wanted to make myself look like an idiot, because obviously you do something like put pump gas in the methanol tank and you scatter the block, and especially because this is our 3rd year in a row of leaning on this thing and wounding it, like, you look kind of like an idiot when you go out and you blow your junk up all the time. But it's funny because, I even told Cletus this. I'm like, I don't want to blow stuff up, because when he and I first, started hanging around stuff, and I kind of got to know him as he's entering, like, really building his YouTube channel up, because I met him back when he had like 375, 400,000 subscribers, like back in the early days of Leroy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, dude, my best videos are when I blow stuff up. And it took me years to wrap my head around that and not caring as much. And I feel like I've been established enough now that I feel like, you know, I can say that I know what I'm doing. And when something bad happens, there's usually a reason why. Sometimes it's because I'm pushing it too hard.
No.
And when it comes to like a situation like that, I was actually baffled when it blew up at Orlando because I took 10 pounds of dome pressure off of it from South Georgia, which should have taken about 5 to 6 pounds of boost out of it because we were running 44 pounds of boost at South Georgia. I mean, this is a stock sleeve, stock stroke, it's a 3.800 bore 5.3. Like it's not some trick whiz bang crazy motor. It's basically just a really small it's 500 or it's 326 cubic inches with the overbore, and the car's 2875 with me in it, and it's been 161 in the 8th mile. Like that's 1700 horsepower, I think.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
It's making some power, but
the one thing that's great
for so long.
Right.
And,
well, the one thing that's great about like when you blow something up, like for you at where you're at now, right? Like with the followers and the people watching and all that stuff, it's good because it shows like, hey, stuff's gonna blow up. I'm gonna make mistakes. You know, I mean and talk about a simple mistake, but by day 4 of a Dragon Drive, your brain it's not working the same, you know?
Yep.
So I think it adds some, I don't want to say credibility, but it adds like some real life to your situation, which is good for YouTube because there's so many people that if they only see wins, they'll never attempt it, you know, but like you showing the backside of you blowing it up is good for somebody that's on the fence about even doing it because they're like, hey, I mean, if this guy did it and he's not crying and screaming and yelling, like, it's okay for you to blow something up. It's not embarrassing, you know?
I mean, it sucks. It's a hit to the wallet. And you know, everybody thinks you're rich because you're on YouTube, and I'm not. Like, I live in a very small, modest house that needs a whole lot of renovation. And, you know, yes, I have a decent truck. It's a 2021 truck, but it's not like I'm spending, you know, even $20,000 a year racing. Like, and there's guys that they're spending way more than that to some of these upper level cars. And, you know, we try to do a lot with a little, and unfortunately that bites us in the butt sometimes. So I'm hoping it's like Soccer Mom's got 2 engines now. Well, we've got one that's almost back together. It's an iron block 388 deal that started. We got it from Texas Speed, and I'm switching it to mast cylinder heads and changing the camshaft around and doing a few other little things. And then Steve Morris is working with me on giving me a discount on getting his new super billet deck stock block, where he goes in and machines out the deck on this 5.3 deal and actually puts a billet insert into it, welds it all in, machines it, it all bolts together. And then we'll have a dry decked 388 stock block, you know, still, so we can still run the stock block classes, which we've always done at LS Fest every year. And so it's kind of like we can stick with what we know, and we don't have to spend $15,000 to $20,000 on a billet block, because that's kind of where the progression, like we can keep beating our head against the wall with a completely stock block, but you know, there's only so many times you can let go of the trans brake button with that thing before it's ejecting parts out of it, or it just the material, the metal material just fatigues, I feel like. And you can hoop them, you can do all this stuff to them, and I just feel like eventually you wear the thing out.
Yeah,
and
you're only adding a little bit of time. You're not necessarily like, you're adding strength, but you're just adding time to what that block can handle.
Yep. So really excited to get our hands on that, and we're going to be assembling it and putting it all together. And supposedly, I think it's in the works, but we're going to be getting a set of the new BTR canted valve heads to try on Soccer Mom. So that's pretty exciting, because those things, from all the stuff I've seen out so far, and I know a few of the guys pretty well at BTR, like the heads are going to help get the air in, and then the Steve Morris super billet deck, I'm hoping, holds the power so that we can have something that we can run for a while. And I've only seen it from his videos where he machines it all out and he puts the head studs into deeper metal in the block, so you're really clamping a lot more metal with a larger head stud. And I think he's got his own main cap that he's developed for it. So
sweet.
Pretty excited. And he told me it should be good for like 2,500 horsepower plus.
Yeah. Man.
I'm like, okay, I only want like a consistent like 1,700 horsepower.
Yeah, I'd like to run 1,700 for 5 years, please.
Yeah, because I just want to go do it for 5 days at sick week. So if we're being honest, like I want to finish sick week, and like I expect that they're going to step up El Toro, they're going to step up Tanner's car, and like Tanner's car was making the most power out of all of us for sure. Yeah. I mean, he's 30. I think he said he was 350 pounds, somewhere in that range. And he went 164 miles an hour at that weight. Like, that's making some power. And, we're 2850, 2875, depending on what all stuff we leave in the car, whether we left the seats and the stock tank in it or the pump gas tank. And I'm like, well, shoot, if he steps his stuff up, like I really think the 235 class next year could be a 440 class. Like if the air's good again, the track's there, I think somebody could probably tickle a 440 in the 235 rowdy radial class. Like I think it's there because Brett is going to step up Snot Rocket. Brett and Doug, they're going to elevate that thing. And then,
unless they do really well in LDR, like, dude, they're running LDR all year in Snot Rocket. So, like, will he?
No, I mean El Toro. They're going to have El Toro in 235.
Yeah,
because, like, I know when I talked to Brett a little bit before sick week, I asked him, about Snot Rocket and stuff, and I had gone to Jim Braun's house and picked up some parts from him, and actually for Cletus's Blazer that we're working on, or Ellis George's Blazer. So I was, just chit chatting with him, and they're like, we'll probably come back because we want to throw down, but we want to chase an LDR championship, and like Brett's already got the data. All we got to do is switch everything back, and then everything we learn in LDR will probably only help our drag and drive stuff. And I mean, you talk about like, it's not stretch of the imagination to say that Brett is the baddest dude in like any kind of like drag racing. Like for the guys that do the majority of the work themselves, because you can step up into pro mod stuff, and yeah, those guys are killer too. But typically, you've got 5 guys with you, 10 guys with you. If you're maybe not 10, but with a pro mod, you've got a 5-guy team minimum because you might be putting a crank in it one run. You got the heads off of it because you heard it, you dropped the valve, and you got to put pistons in it, and you got to change the rods, and you got to do all this other stuff. But the laps that Brett puts on Snot Rocket and the ETs that it runs, like 587 at TX2K a couple weekends ago. I mean, it's just nuts. And mad respect for the guy, and the effort that he puts into it is just awesome to watch. And even being in the conversation with him, with Blaine driving the car on sick week this year, it was super cool because got mad respect for the guy. And like even just racing against him is super cool. And we were 4 thousandths apart after South Georgia Motorsports Park, because I think they went a 69 day one, we went a 71, and then they went like a 63 or 64 at South Georgia, and I went.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah, Orlando happens. Dang it, we lose the thing again.
I think so.
We're back.
There we go.
It says disconnected and then connected. I don't even know.
That's the way my life is.
Yeah, but even just running with those guys is a lot of fun. And Doug and all the guys, Doug and Jim and Tanner and Blaine and Brett, it's like it's the camaraderie of the Dragon Drive stuff. And they were going to ride home with us to go back to Gainesville to get the trailer. And then I ended up finding a truck at Orlando, and then went and rented a U-Haul trailer, and we ended up hauling because we were going to leave Soccer Mom at the track. We were just like, forget you, we'll come deal with you later. Because I wanted to make it back to the shop for the shop party. Mm-hmm. So, by the time we got all that done, they had already found a ride and were headed back to Gainesville. Or actually, they might have been going over to Braden. No, they were going to Gainesville because that's the start. Because they had to go get the trailer to come back and pick up El Toro after the wreck. But yeah, I think that's where you'll see us again is Rowdy Radial, and
awesome.
I'll be shocked if I don't know if we'll be able to go 40s, but I think that's what it's going to take. You're going to need the capability of running 40s. Whether it's us or whether it's El Toro or whether it's Tanner or it's some new guy. I mean, that little 26 8.5 inch tire is a bad little unit. Like it runs the mid track so much better than a 275 because you've got the better gear ratio. And I mean, we were impressed. Like we put them on, we had planned to test. Life was super busy before sick week, and not a lot of testing was open because it being the winter. Mm-hmm. And it's 3 hours plus down to Bradenton, which they're open pretty much year round.
Yeah.
But with all the commitments we've got up here, I need to take at least one guy with me down there to the track to video or, just so the ride down there is not super boring. But, we running, you can basically figure 7 hours by the time you stop for fuel. It's going to be 7 hours round trip. Yeah. So sometimes we don't have that 7 hours to go down there and test. And we made one run down there to test on the 235. And I went, I think the day testing, I went a 482. I went like 119, 60 foot. I went 482 and I'm like, all right, well, last year they were only running mid 480s. I've got more to go. I think I can turn it up. And then we ran the Christmas tree race with the 235s on the car. And I think I went a 72 there. And I rolled in first day of sick week. And I'm like, okay, I think we might have something to do. And then we did the test day on Sunday at sick week here at Gainesville. And they made the call over the PA, Derek's on the PA, and they called Radial, and they're like, we prefer the slower cars come so that we put a little bit of heat in the track. And I was literally the first car down the track. Like I waited about 2 minutes after they made the call, and I'm like, all right, there should be a few cars ahead of me. I won't be the first guy out, but then I'm driving up and I round the corner and there's nobody in the lanes. And I'm like, okay, this is going to work or it's not. So the plan was to make a 330 hit, because once it makes it really past 100 feet, the car's going the distance unless I'm blowing it up. So it goes 300 feet, step off the throttle, it coasts through to like a 485 or something like that. And I'm like, all right, put this thing in the box. Took it back to the shop because it was freezing. That was day 0. So we took it back to the shop and ran a space heater inside I left the car in the trailer, but we had my car there. We had Reno's Nova, the Chevy 2, and then Finnegan brought his car back, and we had space heaters going around all of them just to keep them warm.
Yeah.
So that was our solution for trying to keep heat in them, because like it felt like Tom moved it up a week earlier this year, and we got lucky or unlucky and caught that super cold front.
Yeah.
And it was good that it happened that week, because the week after it rained the whole week.
Oh,
So
too.
yeah, that would have been super bad. But yeah, the air was absolutely insane for 6 weeks. Gainesville first day, South Georgia. It was good at Bradenton, but the wind that happened at Bradenton was because there was a front coming through, so the next day at Orlando, it was already cold again, and the air was so good. And when you mix pump gas and methanol, you can blow your stuff up real quick. So, but yeah, there's so many good memories of the drag and drive stuff, and I think it's awesome that there's so many of them. Like I really want to do the Sick on the Green, where they, it's like a 3-day thing or a 2-day thing where you don't have to commit a week to it, because a week-long commitment for me with the kids plus the Trans Am travel plus any other racing stuff, I'm at all the Crown Vic races with Cletus.
Yeah.
And like, I want to make all of those, because at this point right now, I'm the winningest driver in the Crown Vic stuff.
Oh,
And
sweet.
some of that goes back to the road racing stuff that I did, because we had to race on 200 treadwear tires. So you kind of learned how to manage the tire back then.
Yeah.
And it fell right in when we started running the Crown Vics. And I feel like
freaking names.
Yeah, and I feel like, and I'm sure every racer feels this way to some extent, but I feel like I've given away 3 of those, and I'm the winningest driver in it right now with 4 wins in the Crown Vic races, and I feel like I've given away 3. So I'm like, all right, well, and the only bummer is I won the Freedom 500, which is coming up next weekend. Tune in on Freedom Plus if everybody haven't got your in-person tickets, because it's going to be, I know it's already sold out, so there's going to be some super cool stuff this year for that. But I won the Freedom 500 the second year. Cletus won it the first year, I won it the second year, and there was no prize to win it back then. And like, the prize for this year is like a $200,000 airplane.
Yeah.
And like, that plane costs almost as much as my house is worth. And so I'm like,
You're like, let's go.
Okay. And like, the year that it was the Ariel Atom, that was 2 years ago. Like, I dominated that entire race, and we had a restart, and my spotter, which, from where his perspective was, he called me clear of Travis going down the backstretch, and I wasn't clear. He made a judgment based off of, my momentum and how, like, because it was happening in front of him. So your perspective is changing, and he missed it by about half a second.
Oh.
And so I was about 6 inches not clear. And so I went to move up the track to take his line away and also get the best line on the next corner, because the bigger you make the arc, the faster you can go through the corner. So I turned myself into the wall across the front of his car, and the car wasn't hurt too bad, but I'm at the back of the field and got all the way back up to second. But to do that, I used the tires up to get all the way back through the field to get back to second. And think I might have wrecked again late in that one, but once all that happened, I was pretty fired up because I'm pretty chill like 98% of the time, but he called me clear, and then the next thing I know, I'm buried in the wall, and I'm like, dude, you called me clear, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I missed it, and I'm like, oh.
Could have used that aerial atom.
Yeah. So that was the aerial atom event, and last year
we got to do one more ad read, and then Eric has to fix a leaky pipe in the basement. So let's let him do the ad read and kind of get into some of this, and then we'll either let him go or he'll hang out and fix it by candlelight. I don't
know. All right, racers know when you want performance that wins, you want AFCO. From shocks and suspension to cooling, brakes, and more, AFCO Racing has been helping teams go faster for over 30 years. Built by racers for racers, check out the AFCO Advantage and follow them today on social media for the latest in performance and parts. AFCO Racing, built to win. All right. Yeah, I think I'm going to jump off because I do got to get this pipe fixed before the end of the night here.
Well, thanks, dude. I appreciate you hanging out.
Yep.
Yeah, if y'all ever need to interrupt me, just tell me to shut up because obviously I can talk a lot.
Dude, I love the stories, man. That's what we're here for. I love the stories.
We'll definitely appreciate having you on, Kevin, and I'm sure I'll talk to you again another time.
Oh, yeah. Yep. We'll see you somewhere for sure.
All right. See ya.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk him into coming to Sick Week 2027. We thought we had a spot for him for 26, but just couldn't make the schedule work. So,
gotcha.
Yeah. So that is one of the notes there that I added after I sent them over to you. But talk about some of those races, man, and how much fun that is to be mixing it up with those guys.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, it's still surreal because, like, I watched the night Travis Pastrana did the double backflip in the X Games, and he's just a legend. And when I walk up to him somewhere, he knows who I am, and that just absolutely blows my mind.
Yes.
And like, you could argue now that Cletus has gotten to that level of popularity with the stuff that he's doing, and then some of the NASCAR people we've met. I've met Larry McReynolds and Michael Waltrip and, a lot of these other sports guys. Like I watched the Supercross highlights on YouTube, and, Aaron Plessinger came and raced with us. And
cool.
Like some of these guys that they're just legends in their world and in a world that I mix up in a little with the YouTube stuff. But you got even Whistling Diesel and, the Heavy D, and, there's people that don't like them, but they're cool guys when you talk to them in person.
Oh yeah.
Like
they're like us. They're car guys, to the core. And then you get a bunch of us in the same area. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I'm generally like, when people see me out in the wild, let's say, like, I'm not the kind of person that just goes up and like, I give Cletus as an example. Like when he's around, he's around. Like for one, he's 18 feet tall and commands the room when he walks in. But like, he just kind of takes the area when he walks into somewhere, whether it's because people know him beforehand, but like even at my shop, I'm kind of walking around, like I'm like at the shop party for Sick Week, I'm kind of doing my own thing and, not really like just going up to everybody and saying, hey, that's just not my typical personality. But like somebody comes up and starts a conversation with me, I can yak their ear off for an hour, example tonight. So, and like I say turn it on for the camera, like when I do my YouTube stuff, but the people that have met me in person and watched me on YouTube, they're like, yeah, you're the same guy, both places. Where other people put on a bit of a, they put on a personality. And when I say I got to turn it on, like a lot of my YouTube stuff, especially because it's on the more techie side, with car builds and setup and it's, it's some of our adventures, but I'm the kind of person that likes to kind of think ahead when it comes to like the video that I'm creating. And if I get like sidetracked at any one point while I'm doing that, like something weird happens and I've got like, whoa, shoot, I gotta think about how I'm going to talk about this to explain it in a way that I think most people will understand it.
Yeah.
And that's where, people, I get comments under my videos like, you talk too much, more work, less talk. Well, if I'm going to get a lot of work done, I'll set the time lapse camera up and like rock and roll through a time lapse camera. And then they complain that, it's too much time lapse, like,
but I'm working.
We can't see what you're doing, and which I get, because in a time lapse, it's blowing through it so fast.
Yeah.
And there's a balance to find, because the success of your YouTube videos kind of feeds, I don't know this for sure, but like, I feel like when you have a successful YouTube video, in like the next video you come out with, YouTube is going to be more likely to recommend that video to other people that they think might be interested in your content. So it's the algorithm type stuff, right?
Yeah.
So trying to predict that when it comes to YouTube stuff, I tried, and like, I just put up what I put up. I know the stuff that I do with Cletus and George's stuff. Those videos do 2 to 3 times better than my normal shop videos. And while they bring in some money, it's not like, we're making millions of bucks on YouTube like other people. And
I mean, a couple $100,000 a month is fine.
Whew, I wish. Whew, you would see a whole different level of stuff if we were bringing that much in.
Yeah, we'd have so much cool shit.
Yeah. And like I know the numbers that I make per 1,000 videos or per 1,000 views, and compare that to like other content creators and do the math. And I'm like, wow, you guys are crushing it. Like, I mean,
right?
Not to bring up Cletus again, but like the dude's just killing it. And I mean,
and
I watch all his stuff. Like, it's not only because he's a friend, but like, it's generally good content.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's probably one of the hardest things I think for people to get. And that's one great thing about Cletus and like some of your stuff for sure is like you have multiple cars, right? So you can draw people in with a certain style of car, like your burnout car, right? So you can draw them in with that. That's the first way they get to know you. And then, they see that you're also documenting all this other stuff. Well, shit, they've never even heard of a drag and drive. Now they're following you on Sick Week, driving Soccer Mom. And, that's the way we view YouTube really is like, how do we continue to grow the space? Like if somebody's looking for drag and drive content, they know that they can come to Drag Driver P to get drag and drive content. That's all we're going to talk about. Right. So it's so hard. Like we have a shop, my brother builds cars for a living. And for the first 5 years of that, I did all of the social and videos, and we have more than 1,000 videos on that channel. And, I edited every one of them. And it's like, that channel has 3,000 subs. You know what I mean? And, so after I poured hundreds of hours into that, I was like, okay, well, we're going to talk about other people for a little bit. And that's where this came about. And this has worked. This has been better than what that was. So,
and
Dirty Panda says AdSense is kind to him. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yep. And like, I know that my channel would have never got the kickstart that it got if it wasn't for Cletus. And I mean, granted, I had a YouTube channel, but I had if you go way back, you'll find that video where I almost crashed Will's car. But that's what the videos were. It was literally no commentary. It was just 2 minutes of video, and you put it up on YouTube. And it's crazy because there's some guys, like I'll give Roman Atwood as an example.
Oh yeah.
He crushed it like years ago when YouTube paid ridiculous money.
Yeah.
Like I can look back through the history of my YouTube channel and see what the pay per 1,000 videos or the pay per the RPM, the revenue per milli, like per 1,000 views that you can look at in your YouTube analytics. And I had days back in the early to mid 2000s, maybe it was late to like around 2008, 2010, where it was like 10 cents per 1,000 views.
Dude.
And because I'd have a random day that made like $10 on YouTube, and I'm like, what the heck was that from?
Yeah.
And the bummer of it was I never got paid for any of those because I wasn't monetized. Like
Yep.
you could get monetized, but I never got over the threshold for them to write a check.
Yep.
Like I think it was like $200 you had to get over before they would send you a check to pay you out. Well, I never got over that point, so I never got paid from YouTube. And they changed the rules to where you had to have 4,000 subscribers and or no 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours.
Yep. Yeah, I can't remember what it was before that, but like literally, I'm telling you, 2 weeks before that, before that changed, we were going to be monetized, and then it changed to that. And I was like, shoot me.
Yep. And I had like Cletus had kind of talked me into trying to do something with my channel, and that was around the time we built that Gixxer 1000 cc golf cart. And he crashed it, and so I took it back to my shop and I did a couple of videos on it, and they went like 100,000 views, but I still wasn't monetized. And
that's brutal.
It ended up taking, like, I didn't need those videos. That, like, when he shared that I had the golf cart and to tune into my channel, you know, it got like 20,000 subscribers that day.
Mm-hmm.
So I was over that, and then I had the hours already banked. It still took almost a month and a half before they actually turned on the monetization. And at that point, I had like 600,000 views that I never got paid for. And,
Dang it.
You know, it's like, well, shoot. So, and then, you know, now it's like, it's still a lot of work. Like, I don't know if people understand the work that goes into a successful YouTube channel, which mine is, in some people's eyes, it's super successful. Other people, like I'm a person that's very critical of my own work, whether it's car work. Like I'm always thinking, like I'll see my first way I want to do something, and then I'll stare at it for another 5 or 10 minutes and try to think of a way I might could do it better. I do the same thing with YouTube videos.
Or you watch it 5 times.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it takes time to do that. So you stack up hours with editing and re-editing. And recently I've gotten better at, like, I still edit all my own stuff, and
Wow.
I would certainly have more time if I didn't. But I worked with an editor a little bit for probably like 5 videos. And I don't feel like we ever turned a corner of it actually taking less time working with the editor than it was taking me that if I did it myself. Because the way I edit now, I get to the full video, like through the editing process, I don't even go back and watch it because I know that all my transitions are okay. I've clipped out all the stuff that I didn't like, you know, I coughed or sneezed or something like that, or I said something stupid and had to go kind of just one of the things that like a little YouTube tip, one of the things that Garrett got me on and helped me out with, or Cletus, was, you know, you say something or you cough or something breaks your train of thought, just back up and keep going again. And then just go back and clip that out. But if you stop the camera and you stop your whole process and then have to restart it again, it's just going to throw you off. Where if you're going and you say, you know, you bite your tongue or say a word wrong or something, you literally just almost freeze your body where you're at, and then reset what your thought process and what you're going to say, and then just re-say it all again real quick. And there's times where I've caught myself where I'll freeze my body and then continue on with what I'm saying. And when I clip it out, you can't even hardly tell it because you'll see something move in the background or something because I locked in, and it's worked out great for just continuing the process of building the video. And instead of like stopping, restarting, all right, let me see where I messed up and where I need to restart. If you just back up a little bit to where you know you were good and then just keep rocking, it ends up being where you don't waste a ton of time to continue building your video.
Yeah.
And that's helped me a lot. And like I said, when I finish the edit, I click the process button and I don't look at that video again until it's up on YouTube. And a lot of times
you've watched it as you've gone through, like you've watched each video part of that, each clip 1 to 3 times. You know what it said. You've got the trend, and so I edit the same way. What do you shoot with and what do you edit with?
Mostly it's with my iPhone, and I use a couple of different GoPros for time lapses and onboard stuff. I've got an Insta360, but it's a really old one, and I love the camera angles of the Insta360 because you can literally put one camera in the middle of the car. But I don't know if it's the camera or like I edit on a Mac laptop, but the processing the Insta360 clips adds so much time to my process that I shy away from it unless like I try to have the Insta360 just to catch something if my GoPros turn off or something. But like the Insta360 should be great for the Crown Vic racing because I could literally mount it center of the car. It's got a forward view, it's got a back view, it's got a view looking at me as the driver. So like it's great, except I have to take the Insta360 clip, watch it, find the exciting stuff, and then you might have one clip that you want where you have 3 or 4 different angles. You know, say somebody runs into you, so you want to get the driver's reaction. You want to try to show in the camera where they hit you, and then if you hit somebody else, you want to try to get all that in the clip. And it was just like 10xing my editing time to try and get all these other little clips created because the processing in the Mac was taking so long. It's like I picked a clip with this camera angle, and then I click process that clip, and that one clip takes like 10 minutes to process.
Yeah,
well, then by the time you do that 4 times for one 40-second clip, you just wasted 40 minutes for literally like a segment of video that's going to be 35, 40 seconds long total because you're going to blend all the clips together. And yes, it makes for better videos. So it's a balance. I try to walk
4 hours. Yeah. Or the hour. Yeah.
I've gotten to where if I film like I use the Blazer that we're working on right now. Like I do an intro, I play my little video that's like, you know, the KSR YouTube channel intro, and then kind of explain what we're going to do that day, show a little bit of the car, and then we turn on the time lapse, try to put like a 3 to 4 minute time lapse in, go back to another 5 to 6 minute live section, and then we do another time lapse, and then depending on what we do, that might be a 20 to 25 minute long video. And I can, if I show up at the shop that day with a plan and I'm really efficient with the live action video that I film of myself, I can edit that video in an hour, like just knock it out because all the clips are in the right order. I just pull the GoPro in, set the time lapse up, or I drop the time lapse clips in, put some music over top of those, stretch them out so that it fits the time lapse, fits the length of the song, and I've got that process down to where, you know, a long edit is maybe 2.5 to 3 hours, and then you're putting 30 minutes to an hour in the thumbnail sometimes, trying to pick clips together, and because the thumbnail and title can really make or break a video, thumbnail especially, but so you got to get them in the door first. Is
right. Let's
like
talk thumbnails for a second. Like, So we have a style like Brian. We have a video editor because I am not going to do our videos justice, right? Like, so we take each of these segments, we cut them up, we put them out, and then we do reels and stuff like that. So we have
Yep.
a style that he's built for our thumbnails, right? So do you think it's better to have a certain style, like we see Cletus has himself on it in some side of it, and then whatever they're doing in the background. Like, is it better to have the same similar style around the whole thing, like to where you've got the car in the background, you've got you on the screen, and you've got some words, right? Like word coloring, placement of yourself kind of in the same spot each time. Like, do you see a result in that better?
I feel like I do. I've noticed, I watch a lot of YouTube. I don't have cable at my house. Like I watch some stuff on Amazon Prime and Netflix with my girlfriend, and then it's YouTube for the stuff I do.
Yeah.
And
because there's no good things on Netflix or Amazon Prime for car guys. Like there's some things like I don't know. I watch MotoGP on Amazon Prime, but a lot of the stuff that I watch is YouTube as well.
Yep. So I look outside of just the car space at my kids watch YouTube, and I look at the thumbnails for the videos that they watch. And I know when they like a creator, they look for that person in the thumbnail. So I think that's why Cletus does it. I think that's why Whistling Diesel does it. I think that's why I watch a channel called How Ridiculous, which is some guys from Australia that do some fun stuff. They do the same thing. And when you're maybe trying to build a new, fresh audience, you want that exciting subject. And then once you've kind of established yourself, I think to bring the people back that have already seen your channel, they see you in a thumbnail and they're like, oh, I want to go check that out, which is the reason why myself and a lot of other people, when we do something for Cletus, we put Cletus in the thumbnail. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Why wouldn't you? Yeah.
And, for a long time, I didn't like doing that. Like back when I was building Mullet, because I felt like I was like using him in a way. But then I kind of talked to him about it, and he's like, "Nah, dude, it'll help your videos. Do it." Yeah. And I'm like, "All right, you're right. You're the expert at this. Let's rock and roll."
Everyone should watch the Bucket List Mob, but they're not idiots. They're awesome. They have my dream Winnebago.
Who's that?
The Bucket List Mob. They're awesome.
Oh, okay.
Man, the hell of a bunch of great dudes. They drove the what's called the cluster truck. It's a Ford with big block Ford in it. It's gasser style setup. They towed the boat. I think it was Sick Week 24, maybe something like that. Green truck. It's got a clear yellow scoop on the hood. Freaking awesome, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much cool stuff on YouTube, and in some ways, it's saturated. And that's where I think you have to build your individual audience. Mm-hmm. And, there's been times where, when I've had a large audience, I've done something stupid like that. My mind always goes back to the Bristol wreck that I caused with the Crown Vics, and just one bonehead move. And I take out Haley Deegan and 10 other cars. And I mean, freaking Haley Deegan's fans, she has just like intense fans. And like that's putting it nicely. Just like, always had a great time with her. Like she's super cool in person. Her dad, Brian, is too. Like he's going to be racing the Freedom 500 again this year. Oh, and cool. He, all right, cat, don't knock my phone over.
What's the cat's name? I gotta know the cat's name.
Turbo.
Turbo. There you go. Cool.
Yep. She was a shop cat at my first shop that was right around the corner from my house. And
oh, wow.
I would take the girls to the house or to the shop with me in the afternoons. This was like years ago. And she we'd feed her every time we got to the shop, and we named her Turbo because that was it wasn't around the time of the movie Turbo. That I think it was a Disney movie where the snail was named Turbo or something.
Yep.
So, but yeah, we named her named her Turbo, and then the girls got upset because when I told them I was moving my shop, they got upset because they're like, "What's going to happen to Turbo?" And I'm like, "Oh, we'll bring her home." Yeah. So she's fat and happy now, but she probably doesn't like me holding her on because it's time for her to go to bed. But
oh, that's funny. She's like, "Why are you not in bed yet?"
yeah, but she loves coming and curling up under the covers or laying on top of me when I leave my door open to my room.
Oh yeah.
But what were we talking about before the cat? I done forgot.
To be honest, I think we were just going over YouTube stuff. Dirty Panda saying, clickbait is honestly the best way for monetary gains. But I don't, that's probably true if you're looking for a quick dollar. But I think.
Yeah, I don't think it plays long term.
Right. And for guys like you that are building real cars, that are doing real things in real cars, I think you've probably got to build that base, and it's so slow. We see continuous growth over here, but it's so slow because what we're doing isn't fun blowing stuff up yet. We've blown we've blown my old truck up, but had no in-car footage. So sad, because we're weren't
been there,
ready
done that.
I have the footage from outside the truck, obviously, but it was like a puff of smoke, and then my brother pulled over. Like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah, you missed all the cool noises from inside that it made when it scattered.
Yep.
Oh, we're talking about the Crown Vic deal at Bristol, but like that deal, there's still comments from people in the Cleaterverse and like when I win a race now, they're like, "Well, how many cars did he crash?" I'm like, "Freaking crap!" Like so I had one race before that Bristol deal, and then in all the races coming up after that, I made sure that I didn't do anything stupid, and I drove from last to first at Indy, didn't touch a car, won that race, and then I think when I won Stafford, that was. I think I started like 8th in that deal and got like Cletus spun me in that one, and then they black flagged him and put me back to the front. And it was kind of a racing deal, but when the starter tells you to go back to the front, I'm like, okay, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but that Bristol wreck, I had some bad comments like from Deegan fans. I kind of ruined the race because there was 22 or 24 cars that started the race, and I took out 10 of them. Because I don't know if you remember it, but like I started around 10th and found a rhythm and a line that really worked, and I get up to 3rd, and I'm behind Nick from the Side by Side blog and Haley Deegan, and they're racing each other, but nobody's passing one another. They're just side by side racing, and I'm like, a NASCAR fan, like love NASCAR Bristol races. They're some of the best races in the series. And at least back in the 90s up through the, the Gen 5 cars. And the thought went through my head, you're about to lead a lap at Bristol Motor Speedway. All these memories are coming back. And so I had the thought that, all right, I'll push one of them by each other. I'll push Nick or I'll push Haley, so that I can pass one of them, and then once I handle that, I can pass the other one by the time once I get them away from each other. So I think I pushed Haley, maybe I couldn't quite get to her, or maybe I picked Nick first. I honestly don't remember. I have to go back and watch it, but I pushed Nick on the straightaway, and he was starting to get a little bit of an edge on Haley. And so I'm seeing this, and I'm like, all right, I really got to make it count coming out of this next straightaway. So I wanted to be really close to him mid-corner, and I dive in And I think he checked up a little early, and I sent it in, and I hit him, and like hit him a lot harder than I intended to, and I hit him earlier in the corner than I intended to, and so he gets sideways. And the bad thing about like really high banked tracks, if you counter steer when you get sideways, it takes you straight up the track. So like it's your total natural instinct, and like I'd have done the same thing if I was in his shoes, but I drive in there, knock him sideways, and he's trying to catch it, and it goes up the track, collects Haley. I mean, bad. And it was before the cars had full cages in them. We had crappy little plastic seats in the cars. Like, thankfully, they upgraded the cars way after that, but somebody really could have gotten hurt at that deal. And thank goodness nobody did, because, I mean, like, I went up, like, there's, like, Garrett's video after, like, he gets out of the car, and he's just like, oh, my gosh, and I know I caused it. Like, I'm furious with myself, and when I get out of the car, and, you know, I walk right up to him, and I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, I caused this whole mess. And, you know, looking back on it, it shouldn't have been 10 cars. It should have been 5 or 6 cars, but, like, we're also new to this Crown Vic racing in a crowd, and you just keep piling in. Like, there was people that were, like, in last place that piled into the wreck that shouldn't have even been in the wreck, because once the caution flag comes on, everybody's position. Well, actually, if there's a wreck, they go back to the standing position before the wreck. So there's no, like, when the caution light comes on, you bail out. Like, you hit the brakes, you get out of everybody's way. Well, back then, we hadn't really talked about that as much back then. We go over all that now in the drivers' meetings before the Crown Vic races. Like, hey, if there's a caution, if there's a wreck, back off, because you're going back to the position you were in the last lap.
Yeah.
And sometimes that bites you if you finally pass somebody, and then you lose a spot because somebody else crashed, and you end up losing a spot or two. But yeah, that one, I still live with that mistake, like in all the Cletus videos, and like the side-by-side blog guys made a video like accusing me of doing it on purpose and saying that I was blaming him. I'm like, no, I ran in there and punted him unintentionally. He checked up a little early. I drove in deep. I punted him. He turned to try and catch it, and he ran up the track. That's just what happened.
Well, and so is like when you're racing in the middle of that, one, you're in Crown Vics, right? Like those aren't race cars as much as you want to be. But then two, like, you know, really you're racing. There's very few people that have the pedigree that's been as behind the wheel as much as you have, right? So like when you're in the middle of 25 cars that are Crown Vics, that are like, I mean, they're not new Crown Vics. These are like 200,000 mile Crown Vics, right? They do have safety stuff. I'm sure they've been worked over to make sure they're safe and, you know, drive well. But then like the other side of that is like, now you're putting people like Nick. I mean, I don't know if he has any experience like that. Nick is a good friend, and, you know, but I think if you put him on a dirt oval with a side-by-side, you know, he knows what to do. But you put him on the, you know, Bristol Motor Speedway and in a Crown Vic and in the middle of 20 people, and he's side-by-side with somebody. Maybe.
Oh, no, he was doing great until I went in there and drove over him. Like, well, right.
But
the racing has definitely gotten a lot better too.
Oh, I bet.
Like, even
everybody went home and got serious. They're like, "Hey, this is kind of fun."
Yeah, it's a ton of fun. And then with Cletus's continued, you know, rise through motorsports, it's only getting more popular. And like when I went in, so I didn't get the invite to the first race because, well, I feel like Garrett Cletus was worried I was going to win it, and because him and I had done some road racing together, and he flat out told me he didn't invite me to the Dirty 30 thing they did with the Top Gear guys.
Yeah,
he's like, yeah, you'd have come in here and dominated that. It'd have been you and me, and we wanted to make it play good on TV. And I'm like, dude, I can toe the line. Like if we're doing, if we're doing stuff and we need to make a show out of it, I'll make a show out of it. Because
right.
Like there was a Ranger race that Drew Jackson and I did that with. Like we knew we stumbled onto a tire that nobody had, and the way they wrote the rules, I knew a little bit about some new tires that were coming out, and we had this tire that was a killer tire. And so we got out there and we're just playing with each other. Like we made it look like we were racing hard, and like we had the field covered by like a second a lap. I mean, just we could walk away from them anytime we wanted to. And then what we had kind of agreed to before the race is we'll play with each other until it's like 10 to go, and then it's on. Like as hard as you can race, let's go. So we get down, I think the final lap, I got ahead of Drew in some traffic, and then his truck was faster. He was driving better than I was, and his clutch was slipping because he had an oil leak that was getting oil on his clutch. His truck was a stick shift, mine's an automatic, and he sends it in to turn 3 because I'm ahead of him, and spins us both out. And we were so far ahead, I was able to spin out and then still take the win because we were almost a full lap ahead of third place. Geez. He couldn't get his truck going again because the clutch was slipping so bad at that point. But yeah, there's like I didn't get invited to the first Crown Vic race, but then I raced the Freedom 500. Like if I didn't run up front, I wasn't going to get an invite back. So like that was the first Freedom 500 that I won 2021, I think it was. So, there's always that mindset. And then after I wrecked half the field at Bristol, I'm like, well, there goes that shot. I'm not coming back again. So, I just freaking punched that gift horse in the mouth, like totally ruined this part of my life as being able to do these Crown Vic races, because they are awesome fun. You get to meet all the fans that come out, and like it's so cool for me to be a part of that stuff, that that all these huge names keep getting invited to. And then because I feel like I'm a very analytical person, and I try to never count my chickens before they hatch, is one of the old timer sayings. So I see the driver's list, and there's always a factor in these Crown Vic races of whether or not you're going to get like a super good car. Like you've seen cars like Tony Stewart got a car that went out there and broke. Like obviously Tony Stewart is Tony freaking Stewart. Like he's the man. So, and unfortunately, he got a bad car at one of the races, but he's still there having fun. But for somebody like Tony Stewart, he could show up at any race and get an invite at any time.
Yeah.
I don't have that name behind me, so like I want to continue like performing well in these things and not crashing people. And racing incidents one thing, but like the bonehead Bristol move was completely my fault. So after that happens, I'm like, yeah, there goes my shot with that. So thankfully got the invite back, raced super, super careful for a long time. I mean, there's times to be aggressive and there's times to not be aggressive. Cause you never want to, I mean, there's probably 100 cameras on you at any point in time at one of these Crown Vic races, between the people in the stands and the TV program. And so you're trying to be a responsible racer and put on a good show.
Right.
Like, not that you're thinking about that while you're driving the Crown Vics, but like, you don't want to do something stupid and wreck somebody unintentionally. Like even last year at the Freedom 500, Corey LaJoy was in it. And one of the things I was talking about with like when I show up at these races, it's getting to be a bigger number because everybody's kind of getting better as we do these more. But generally the driver's list comes out and I look at it and I'm like, all right, well, there's 5 guys I'm really worried about, and there's 10 guys that if they get a really good car, they'll be up at the front too. So it depends on, you kind of start wondering if they're going to have the same car they had at previous events and all that stuff. So, and then when we show up, I'm just like, I kind of establish, all right, if we run top 5 this race, that's all. I'm totally happy with that. And sometimes what happens is you're running top 5 and then you're like, well, I can pass this guy ahead of me. Okay. Now I'm 4th. Now I'm 3rd. Okay. Now I'm 2nd.
Well, I guess I'm going for it.
Okay. So
there's a carbon club on the line.
Yeah. And so at this deal last year, I'm racing with Travis and Corey LaJoy, and with these big cup names that are coming into the field with us, like Tony and Greg Biffle, him racing with us, like, I can't say how many times I watched Greg, through the early 2000s racing in the Cup Series, and meeting him in person, he was so cool. Like it's such a bummer that we lost him and his family and everybody on the plane that day. But like just being able to race with him, and the race that I had with him at Indy is probably going to be one of my lifelong highlights for, as far as my motorsports career. But like this year or last year at the Freedom 500, I've got about as good of a car as Travis, but like when your cars are equal, it's super hard to pass cleanly. And I've got like Eddie that works for me. He's my spotter and does a great job spotting for me. And Travis, I don't think typically has a spotter. So he doesn't know what I'm doing to try and get around him. So we get down to like, I think 3 or 4 to go. There's a restart and he gets out, and then Corey and I are side by side, and coming out of turn 2 on the last lap, we bump, and I've got one hand on the nitrous and one hand on the steering wheel. And whenever you like circle track race, you never have like a super hard grip on the wheel, because if somebody hits you or you hit the wall, you can break your thumb off, or not off, but you can break your thumb. Yeah. So I typically have a pretty light hold on the steering wheel, especially when I've got one hand on the nitrous button. So Corey and I bump, and he hits the back of my front tire with his car, and the wheel shifts in my hand, and I'm still on the nitrous, and the car's kind of sliding a little bit. And as soon as the tire stops sliding, the car just turns left and drives him down to the grass. And I'm crossed up, like trying to steer the car back to the right with the one hand. I'm still on the nitrous, like trying to drive this thing back off of him. Well, he's got a podcast, and I talked to him after the race. I'm like, hey man, I'm so sorry. Like, didn't mean to run you to the grass on the last lap. Like when we bumped, it knocked the steering wheel in my hand, and I'm on the nitrous. So it messed me up. Like, it's on me. Like, again, I'm sorry about all this other stuff. And he was cool. And then the next week on his podcast, he just rips me on his podcast. And I texted him, and I'm like, dude, we talked about this in person. Like, I'm not BSing you. Like, literally the steering wheel moved in my hand. Like, yeah, we're both trying to win this thing. Like, by that point, Travis was like a couple of cars ahead of us, and we would have had to wreck him to like beat him. But I still wanted to finish second. Yeah. And so when we first had contact, I still thought I might have had a little bit of a shot to get to Travis. Or if Travis makes a mistake, then it's me and him. Yeah. Me and Corey fighting for it. But, I'm like, dude, we talked about this in person. And then all the comments again, all the people that hated me from the Bristol thing, they must also watch Corey, because then they're in the comments on Corey's podcast, like, oh yeah, he's a dirty driver. He does this. I'm like, man,
you're a dirty driver.
I don't think I'm a dirty driver. I try to race people clean. I mean, I'm aggressive. I'll bump somebody, but at the same time, like that's what made NASCAR in the 90s and the 2000s. Like
I mean,
there was
what
the
Harry
bump and
what
run.
Harry say?
Like
Rubbing Drayson?
yeah,
Yep.
and like
Oh,
that's part of the fun of these things is you
right.
kind of rub on people a little bit. And I'm more of a fan of the circle track than I am the kidney bean thing that we do for the Les Mullets race
Oh, yeah.
because that's just carnage.
I was
Like,
gonna say, but I think that's probably like for Le Mullets, that's probably good for TV. You know what I mean? Like,
oh,
and
it's got to be great.
so
And
let's
like,
as we run down the show, let's run through the names that are on the Freedom Factory or on the Freedom 500. I've got it pulled up here. You got
okay,
Ellis George. I think that's a
yep,
good one. He's I feel like he's a great driver. Ty
yep,
Braun, man, that dude's good. C Boys, Micah. You got Chris Fix, which I think is going to be that's cool.
he's
Midnight
done a bunch
Performance.
of karting, I think. So yeah, he's in there.
That'll be fun. Midnight Performance. I mean, we know those guys go in a straight line all the time. You got Zach Walker,
Yeah,
which that should be familiar, but it doesn't ring a bell to me.
that's
Victor
Zach that
Alvarez.
works for that's Zach that
Oh
works
yeah,
for
yeah, yeah,
Cletus.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah, he's won
Uh,
one. Him and
yep,
Ty won. Well, he beat Tony Stewart at Indy a couple years
that's
ago.
that's right. Yeah,
Like,
that's why the name sounded familiar. But yeah, you got Vic Alvarez, of course. Boosted Boy
yep,
Kyle, that dude's a wheel man for sure. Stradman,
yep,
which I know who he is, but I don't know of a driver style with him. Of course, Cletus.
yep,
Brent from PFS Speed, dude is a wheel man there as well.
yep,
Brian Deegan, your favorite person there.
yep.
Jim York.
Brian, Brian's awesome.
Yeah,
Like,
he definitely has spent some time behind the wheel. He has seat time in about
yep,
everything, I think. Right?
yep,
Jim, you got Kenny Wallace. That's kind of cool, man. I think that'll be
yep.
fun. Him do some cool stuff. Jack Stan, of course. Brad DeBerti. I don't know any of his drive. I know he's a YouTube guy and stuff like that. I don't know any of his
Yeah,
driving experience.
he's done. Uh, I think he's done some off-road truck stuff,
I think
but
so.
he's won a couple. Like he's good. Like he's good for sure.
That's awesome. The Thriller, Wyatt Miller. That sounds like a fun dude.
He like that is Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s nephew.
No,
Like,
that dude's got some seat time and is probably a pretty good
well,
driver.
he's 13 or 14 years old and winning like crazy. Like
That's awesome.
that name when I first saw the name, it didn't click. And I watch the Dale Jr. podcast when I'm driving all over town,
Yeah.
and I usually watch the Dale Jr. Download. And like when that name didn't click, and then I was watching his podcast, and then they announced it, and I'm like, oh shoot, that kid's a ringer. Like
Yeah.
he's definitely going to be
awesome.
one to watch for sure.
That'll be awesome. Roman Atwood is on here. You're on here, of course. JH Diesel. What kind of driver is he?
JH has won a few of them too, and I race JH almost every Danger Ranger race, and like our trucks are pretty equal, and like he got on the tire game that we did, like the race after, and then I think he won that race. Like
Oh, that's awesome.
he's definitely like all these guys. It's that 10 that I mentioned earlier has expanded to like 15. That if they
Yeah.
get a good car, they're going to be at the front.
And then we got Bobby Earnhardt, Axel
Yep.
Hodges, Travis Pastrana, TJ Hunt.
Yep.
Dude, how about Beater Bomb, Joey Heichel? This will be fun.
That'll be interesting. He said
Yeah.
he's done some kart racing,
Oh,
and
cool.
so like karts definitely give you a feel
Yeah.
of car control. And the thing, like I get like usually every time we show up at one of these deals, word kind of gets around, but to some of the newer guys, they're like, you want to get some tricks, go talk to Kevin. And of course I just start yapping like crazy because that's what I do. And like I talked to Victor at Indy, and then I talked to like Cameron Johnson and Clay Milliken. We all ran Indy, and I told him, I'm like, the biggest thing you've got to do first is keep the right front tire on it, because what a lot of people do I've seen it happen in a bunch of different racing, whether it's road racing or circle track racing. They turn into the corner, and if it starts sliding the front tires, they turn more. So all it does is it's just grinding the front tires. Now it may turn more, but the only reason it's turning more is because they've got so much scrub angle in the tire that it's just sliding the tires, and it's actually slowing the car down enough to actually continue the corner. But all that does is just destroy the right front tire on the car. And there'll be guys that, typically what they do is they invert the field. So, and I haven't learned to not go full throttle as hard as I can go in qualifying, because I want to qualify. I want to beat everybody in qualifying, because I'm like, all right, to me, that's a win. Like, if I qualify on the pole, that's a win. And then if I can still win the race, even though I know that if I qualify on the pole, I'm going to the back. So I go out there, and as I'm kind of tiptoeing my way through the field for the first half of the race, I can watch people and determine how they're driving and if they're going to be a threat. Because if I see them in the corner, and if I'm under them in a corner and I see their front left scrubbing, or I'm behind them and I see a bunch of blue tire smoke coming off the car, I'm like, yep, you give that 10 laps, they're going to get a tire. So, and that's just one of the things I've picked up on through and I tell them, I'm like, if you have more than 90 degrees of wheel in the car to make the corner, you're probably scrubbing the right front tire off of it.
Yeah.
And like, I'll say, like, Victor has so stepped up his circle track stuff. Like, whether it's from the tips that I gave him, or he's just kind of just a natural wheel man, and he just needs.
He's over there. He's just wheeling that thing. He's got like 2 Crown Vics that he just beats on all the time, I bet.
Yep, he has, like, his first race, not a threat, but like several races last year, I raced with him, and I'm like, dang, he's doing awesome. Like, and it's like, okay, I got to shut up and not give everybody my secrets, because they're all going to beat me if I keep talking. So,
oh, that's funny. All right, so we got Taylor Ray, we got Heavy D, we got Leah Block, and Steve Hamilton. Steve Hamilton doesn't sound familiar to me. I don't know.
So Steve Hamilton is that guy that owns the Hamilton Collection, that owns all those real high-end cars that Garrett's been playing around with lately.
Yep.
Yeah, guy's got some, and he's the guy that owns customoffsets.com.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
So yeah, he's a cool dude. He probably won't be a threat this time. But Taylor Ray's another good one. Like, Taylor Ray's usually my partner in the 2.4 hours of Les Mullets, and Taylor's a wheel man for sure.
Yeah.
So, like,
wow.
And the cool thing is, it used to be that there was 5 guys that you knew, like, were going to be a threat, and that's all you had to worry about. And then there was like the 5 guys that are going to be a threat, and then there was 5 guys that, okay, maybe. And that okay, maybe turned into 10. I think my thing's died again. Nope, you're still there.
Yep.
So my that maybe turned into 10, and like for this race, that maybe list is like, you've got your 5 ringers, and then you got 10 to 15 that are like, okay, if they're at the front, I'm really not going to be that surprised. So,
do you guys get any kind of seat time beforehand?
They'll have a practice the day before, like on Thursday.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've got a simulator that I haven't turned on in a year and a half because it needs a new computer. Mm-hmm. But there's a few that play. I used to do iRacing a ton more than I do now, but there's that. And then like there's part of me that really wishes I had gotten involved with some more professional style racing, like at a lot younger age. Because I've had some I've had some people tell me I've got a natural talent. And I mean, Randy Popes, if you know Randy Popes, that he's like Motor Trend's hot shoe, does all their push laps for setting a record in a car. I raced with him years ago. Like he was at one of the Champ Car events that we do, and he would get in your car if you let him. Like if it was because he's a legend and he just loves racing. So if it's a safe car, he'll look it over and, hey, can I get a stint? And we're like, yes, you're Randy Popes. You can drive our race car. I'll give up one of my 2 hours so that you can drive.
Please show us how slow we are.
Yeah, and so we have, even on those cars, we have a GPS data like lap analyzer. Mm-hmm. So we would get his data. And he's a guy that's in a car every week, same with some of these other guys that do, a lot more racing than what I do. And even back doing the Champ Car racing, we might go to the firm once or twice, but we show up at Sebring or Daytona or Road Atlanta with our little cheap endurance road race car. And then we're running the thing. And like the first time Randy drove with us, I was on track with him while he was in another racer's car. And then he came over and drove our car, and he's like, what else do you do racing wise? And I'm like, this is it. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, why? And he's like, you make some really calculated moves for not racing all that much. Yeah. Because like when we raced Daytona with the Champ Car Series, they used to start 130 cars. So it's a 3.7 mile course. So it's pretty spread out, but still like 130 cars. And our car was never the quickest lap time wise. Mm-hmm. A couple of times we were up there with the quickest single laps, but our cars would have the advantage, or would take advantage of a rule that was, I got to explain it, so Daytona for the Champ Car Series is a 14-hour race. Well, they mandate that no one driver can drive longer than 2 hours at a time. So the idea is that you build a car that's going to run out of gas right around 2 hours. So you pit for fuel. It's a mandatory 5 minutes on pit road. So you fuel the car, swap drivers, and then you're out for another 2 hours. If you've got a super fast car, chances are it's going to burn a lot of fuel. So you might be able to go out there and stretch out a minute lead on us. But then when you have to pit at an hour 30 and we can go the full 2 hours, well, over a 14-hour race, you made 2 more pit stops than we do. So that's 10 minutes plus that you're on pit road. And it actually works out to be about a 12-minute advantage by the time you slow down for pit road, spend your 5 minutes on pit road, and then get back up to speed again. That 5-minute pit stop actually costs you about 6 to 6.5 minutes of lap time. Wow. So managing all of that, our cars would always go that 2 hours. And we weren't the only people that were doing it, but we were one of the faster people that did it. And we won a few races on that strategy. And I really, really enjoy that series and need to go knock the dust off my other cars and bring them out. Because Cletus drove the last race they did at PBIR with me in one of the cars, and we were leading by 2 laps and the alternator died. So that was only I think that was an 8-hour race. They ran 4 hours before lunch and 4 hours after lunch, or maybe it was a 10-hour race, like a 4 and then a 6. And that was actually right after he had gotten that red helicopter that he never showed on he didn't show it much on his YouTube channel. BO 105, I think it was, is the make of the helicopter, but he flew in. We hauled the car, 4.5 hours down to PBIR, and he flies in that morning, and the car breaks, and then he flies, and he's back home in like 45 minutes, and we're still on the road heading back to get back to Gainesville while he's home in the helicopter.
Dang.
I'm like,
yeah. Now he just needs a helicopter big enough to haul a car. And that's just. Yeah.
I've joked with him about that. He's like, yeah, don't never say never.
Yeah, right.
I'm
He's
like,
like, believe me, I'm looking at them, but those are expensive.
Yeah, I mean, that's all your. Are there any helicopters outside of military helicopters that'll do that? Like,
I don't know. You'd have to probably get a decommissioned military one to then try and tell them, hey, no, I promise all I'm going to do is haul a car, not a tank.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like Dave Sparks, Heavy D, that got that Blackhawk.
Yeah.
I think he went through a bunch of had to jump through a bunch of hoops. And when you look at the lettering on it, it says it's an experimental. So that they might have done that to get around some of the flight rules, with that being a decommissioned military helicopter.
Interesting.
But
cool.
Yeah, the bigger you go to, you need more than one pilot to fly them. So it's maybe I will be a carbon cub, and I'll start my piloting, which I actually have started getting my pilot's license. But
nice. You're in preparation of this carbon cub next week, guys. Again, Friday, April 10th or 11th. I don't know what date that was there. I think it's the 11th. Freedom 500 on Freedom Plus. That'll be a fun one to watch, dude.
Yep, I'm excited, and I just want to be in it at the finish. Like that's another one where, looking at the list, if I can finish top 5 in that one, that'll be good. Like, I'll be happy with that. But if I've got a shot to go for the win with 2 to go, you're going to see me make some moves to try to get to the front.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap this thing up. Hey, I want to tell you thank you, man. I mean, I know you're a really busy guy, and spending the time with us tonight I really do appreciate it. It's kind of weird. You and I've been in the same spot a couple different, like every sick week that you've been to, I've been at. And, I think if we probably add all the time up in all of history, it doesn't match what we've spent tonight talking here. So I appreciate you just being so open and honest with stories and talking about, your history and all that stuff. I think it will hopefully help, bring people to your channel. I mean, I'm sure everybody that watches here knows who you are. So we'll be rooting for you next week.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's a good time. As I've demonstrated, I can talk up a storm if given the opportunity. So
well, we
I appreciate you having me on, and can't wait to see you at some of the next events, and we'll definitely keep in touch.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, thanks a bunch. I'm going to put you backstage and close this thing down. Again, KSR Performance, Kevin at KSR. Guys, you got to be watching his stuff. If you're not, I don't know what you're watching, because it's great, man. I love it. I love what you're doing over there. So thanks again, dude. Tell all the kids we said we appreciate, you spending the time with us.
Yep. Thank you. Talk to you later.
All right, buddy. See you.
See ya.
How cool, man. I'll tell you, what a blast. That was fun having Joanna on. It was fun going through all the stuff there's a ton of event updates that come from just Eric is making great notes in that spot. So it's really kind of fun there. And just to be able to have the knowledge drop tonight, like from Joanna and also from Kevin, to be able to be in the middle of all of this here. We appreciate you guys hanging out. It was a great show tonight. A lot of comments. We appreciate everybody making the comments and stuff. Let me wrap this stuff up here, and then we're going to kick rocks and get back to it. Big shout out to Brian, who does all of our editing. Appreciate him so much for what he's going to have to do for this 3.5 hours on tonight. So guys, thank you so much for being our race car friends. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing what you've done. Thank you for the shares and comments and everything from there. Get ready. We've got big news that I hope I can release next week. So for the folks that stayed to the end, just know there's stuff coming. And of course, thank you to our sponsors that make all this possible: Summit Racing, Deechworks, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cams, J-Wire Solutions, AFCO Racing Products, Performer Built Transmissions, Car Change 3D, Low Dollar Motorsports, Power Tube TV, and Racing Junk Classifieds. Y'all, if you're doing some shopping, hit these guys up, see if they got something you can need. And we'll talk to you soon. I do want to give a big shout out to my mom. Love you. Yeah, love you. We'll talk to you soon, and I'll probably call you tomorrow. All right, see you guys.